You got me singing in my head when I dream about you dancing. See, there's a whole band going on in my head right now. So, all y'all feeling weird and embarrassed that you're watching me do this, that's on you. That is on you. Y'all should hear what's going on in here. Speaking of hearing what's going on in here, I have my good friend Dylan Gill, aka Blow Drill. Hi, Dylan.
No, that
What do
is
you think?
quite the intro. I like it.
You quite in a good way or quite
Yeah,
too
no, that is
much?
good. It's good.
And
No,
look at
is that
the tamarind. I need to hold on. Let me adjust my lighting on my TV for you. We need to adjust it to there we go. The Dylan red so it matches the tamarind. There we
evil
go.
SP red?
Little SP devil red.
Mm.
Dylan, I don't know about y'all. And hello, everybody. Wait, let me do the full introduction. Hello, everybody, and welcome to LARA FM TV, also known as SPTV. And hello, thank you for being here, Candy's Life, Apostate Alex, all y'all beautiful, sweetheart little angel babies. Showing up just like you do, you beautiful little SPs, you. I am so specifically excited to talk to Dylan about it. Right when I said that, I looked at the time in the live time. It was 2222. There's 22 people watching, and the time was 2:22. Poop, by the way. So this just means that this is a fantastic guest that we have. Not to toot your horn and all that, Dylan, because I know you're a very humble, sweet man. But here on this specific episode, guys, we are talking about fatherhood and fatherhood and being a father and what maybe the idea of what we as children think a father should be or what we look up to as that. And I mean we meaning people who were physically born and raised in the Sea Org or under the control mechanism of Scientology's policies and the way that you're supposed to behave and, you know, like act and things like this and not allowed to do so. It really controls a large part of our future. Like, if you know what I mean, right, Dylan? It, like, in terms of if you're a child, having strict schedules and having zero way outlets and zero creativity and or like having and the amount you get is so minor that it's just a bullshit excuse to say that you did it so it sounds good. You know what I mean? Like, you're a father now. I don't have my father. Born and raised in the Sea Org or not, my father still felt in some way, shape, or form like a father figure, you know? And here I am in the outside world learning about what real fathers do and single fathers. That's a rare one. And I have so much respect and pride. Literally, your heart when I'm upset literally makes me feel so safe to talk to at any point about anything because of your experience that you've been through yourself and the fact that you come through literally as the mother of the fathering of the relationship, you know, because you're a single dad doing what you do. And then I just don't get it. I mean, I could do this forever, Dylan. It's so crazy that, like, of course I have my own story. But I also really respect our friends and our people that have been through the thick and the desperateness and having nothing and literally then having nothing and then we're here. So that's what I want to talk about. And I want to warn people, just for y'all in the chat and for the people watching in the future, this subject is very heavy for me. Emotionally, so if I get out of line with my tears and that, you just gotta let them roll through, because, and maybe it won't happen. I just feel like, Dylan, you're such a safe, soft person to talk with on the subject, and you have so much experience literally being a father.
Well, geez, I appreciate that, but I think
sorry
it's kind of
for the whole red carpet rollout.
yeah, no, it's a learning thing that haven't, not having had the father figure that I guess society projects out there, the nuclear family or the leave it to beaver kind of, although I don't know what the current um, socio model is, but I think I also got caught up in that, like even growing up with stats and um, targets and battle plans, and like even as regular everyday life, um, I still had that romanticized the idea of a mother and a father, and um, I don't know, it's important. I think we're communal as humans, so we want to be together,
When
and
you say
uh,
romanticizing, like a father and that, you mean like even in your everyday steps and stuff, like of like work and like what you do, or just being able to like being in a relaxed moment, being like you go and think about your family or your mom and dad.
oh no, I meant more as like a kid. Like when I was
Okay.
a kid, I romanticized it, and then
Okay,
I
that's what I
learned,
would. That's what I. So that's
yeah.
what I wanted to get to is the
Even knowing I
perspective
was
of
a
the
big
kid
bean in a, or
in a small
in a small
body. Right.
body, and
Right.
I still felt like that mattered. Family mattered,
100%. Same.
um, yeah. So it was really important, Christmas, like we celebrated Christmas, even though nobody's technically religion or religious, it's more of philosophy of the mind and all that kind of crap. Um,
But
so
it,
I,
I
I
mean,
think,
even our Christmas could be like 5 hours or 2 hours or literally even 30 minutes where we can exchange presents or, even that was a lot for us. For us, I feel like time also, there was a weirdness with time, right? Like, I could remember a long moment of a Christmas time that was only 1 hour long. And I could
right,
forget the torture that I
right.
was going through 10 hours before that, you know?
No, definitely. I think it's weird how there's multi levels of, I kind of grew up in the mission network and the orgs, in the earlier, so there was still a sense of community where the Sea Org, I didn't experience that until my teens and by myself, so I didn't really have that. Once my dad sent me to the Sea Org, I didn't really see him again. The next time I saw him was after I had been declared and I had an 11-month-old son, and I tried to go to a family reunion. That was a bad idea. Um,
What did he
yeah.
think about when you were joining the Sea Org, like with your dad? Like, what was he just like? Okay, go ahead, have fun, or was he like, I'm not okay with this. I can't believe your mom's making you do this, and I can't. Nobody can stop. Like, what was that?
Oh well. My dad was all for it. My dad, and my uncle, and my aunt. They were pretty much, well, not my aunt so much, but my dad. Yeah, my aunt was. They were all pretty much for it, and they wanted. My dad had, wanted to go to Portland was starting and the whole religious crusade and not one thin dime. And so they wanted to kind of, I don't know, my dad was really gung ho on sending me to the Sea Org. So I had been recruited for quite a while, like, when you're young and around the orgs,
Yeah.
San Francisco was kind of a hot spot, so
How many?
he got recruited.
How many pre Sea Org contracts did you sign before you officially actually joined the Sea Org? Because I definitely knew
Like,
like public that I was recruiting signed like 8 before I got them
yeah,
to
I was
actually.
only like two. I sent like two project prepares,
Mm.
and like hadn't signed the Sea Org contract, and then finally I signed it, and I left like the next like 2 days after I signed it. Um,
And how old
so
were
it
you?
was
This you were like
14.
okay.
Um, my
What was your
Yeah, my
first
dad brought
like?
me.
What you did the EPF and all that?
Uh-huh, yeah.
And then what was your first job? I remember my what was your first post? I should say.
CMO missionary.
Really? Straight from the EPF?
Yep.
Because you were already kind of like as we were the Int Ranch cadets, you kind of were already programmed as like a child running around the orgs and all that, knowing the basics. It's not like you were a dilettante, as they would say.
I don't know. I was recruited for flag crew. I was kind of excited. Um, and I had no idea, once I got to Florida, it was like the echelon of orgs. But in the EPF, I got traded. into the CMO, and I went right into HCO expediting, and then I started as a missionaire, and then ended up in HCO.
And then and this is in Clearwater?
Uh huh. Yeah.
And then how long? And then at some point you got shipped off to. I know this is not like but it's so important because it actually is going to make sense when we're talking about all sorts of random father stuff
Well,
and
I will
dad.
say that when I fell in love right around then, and I wanted to get married because I didn't want to go out 2D and get RPF.
Oh
So
my
I was really
god.
keen on getting married. And my dad sent me a a ring to give to her. And it was, what struck me as odd was that my dad really had never really paid attention to me. But
Mhm.
once I had joined the Sea Org, I was like all of a sudden a good person. So it was kind of interesting how I got love bombed quite a bit by my family um, once I joined the Sea Org. But before that, I was, an out ethics DB little kid,
I
ethics
felt the
bait.
same.
you know,
I felt the
so
same.
it
I
was kind
felt
of
at the in ranch it was like struggling with just I would get in trouble for just being, creative or funny or and it
right.
just was all the time. It felt like boom, like I was just the mole that always got hammered, but like the game, like it was just like
Yeah,
trying
whack
to
a
have
mole.
fun, bah, yeah, like I'm trying to have
Right,
fun, guh, knock that off, get in line, and it was just like, damn, how, what can I get away with?
right, right. Well, how did
Anyways, yeah.
your so when you were in the Int Ranch and your dad, he was at Int, or was he down at
So
Pac?
so I was born at the Wilcox Hotel in Hollywood.
Right,
And my dad, and so this is what I've been told. I can't, my hope is that someday I'll be able to talk to my mom and dad and hug them and be like, all right, let's start talking about everything. That would be the
right,
ideal scene from all this. But what I do kind of know is that my dad stayed back in Canada with my brother and my sister, we're all 2 years apart. So I'm the youngest and my brother's the oldest, and so we have a
right.
middle sister, and they are born in Canada, Toronto. And then my mom flew when she was 6 months pregnant from Canada to Los Angeles to join the whatever mission or whatever Dynetics campaign she was doing. Like
That's how they got
I'm
people,
learning
was
about
like
all this
whoever
now.
recruiting. Right,
Yeah, like Jeff Hawkins gave me a lot of information on that time, and same with like Amy
like
Scobie, like lining
technical
thing.
training corps was a huge thing, like Universe Corps, like everybody was getting
Yeah,
recruited,
something
and then they
core
get
with their
stuck.
mission uniforms.
Right,
I
and then
think
they
my
get
mom
a
had like
flag and
like the skirts at the time when the black bow ties, the whites and the
oh, okay,
blacks,
sure, yeah,
and the skirts, and then it changed from blue because then I did notice she had a Golden Era production like tag on. So she must have been like on a project going up to gold or from gold. And then eventually
right.
went to gold with my dad. So, but what I do know is that I was born at the Wilcox Hotel, which is now called the Mama Shelter Hotel. We're in 2023. Anything could change in Hollywood. But yeah, Wilcox 6500. And then, oh, I just got this information. If Rosemary is listening, did you know Rosemary Brown? Did you know Mike Brown?
I did not
You didn't? Oh,
know.
okay. Did you have you heard anything about like their stories or anything
I
that like
have, yeah.
isn't it
There's a lot of. I've been kind of trying to sound the whistle up at CST. There were quite a few elderly people when I was there, and they disappeared as
and
well. So,
yeah, including
and
Shelly and stuff, right?
well, Shelley's not like elderly per se, but
No, 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 but I'm
like
saying including like hiding people. Like not only just the elderly, but also you were around when you definitely knew what do you call it? Confidential matters. OSA, RTC matters.
yeah, no, going to CST definitely disappears you no matter who you are. and then
Because
you don't talk about where
because you're
you
not allowed
came
to talk
from.
about anything, right?
Right. Nobody, I wasn't like, hey, I was in CMOCW and like, we didn't talk, nobody compared notes from where they were. And I didn't even know like Jim Isaacson had kids. So it was kind of weird.
Wow.
You just don't, you talk about productive stuff and post
Yeah,
related topics. That's what you
productive.
talk
I like how
about.
you said it happily. You talk about productive stuff.
That's right. That's right.
Joyful, uptone things. I was
Of
gonna say,
course.
so I spoke to Rosemary. Literally, this is why I actually scheduled this, guys, for me and Dylan to start this at 7, and then it went to 8, and then I was like, okay, I'm scheduling it for 8:30 because I was talking to Rosemary Brown for the last, or that's what I know her as, Rosemary, but for the last like hour and a half, and I didn't realize it was going for an hour and a half. But she told me just information about like my dad and like just the process of, excuse me, I'm
Hmm.
totally gonna cough right now, guys. Whatever we were talking about, it just reminded me of something that Rosemary had said about my father. Anyways, I'll go back to it, but um there's so much I just got from Rosemary, just talking to her and hearing her voice. And Rosemary, she should be listening. And same with Mike Brown, if he also stole the link. Mike Brown was like, "Oh, is that with Dylan?" I was like, "Yep, we're going live in 5 minutes." So cute. Hi, Rosemary. We are so. I was telling her her story, and her even speaking to me is
Hmm.
literally finally the physical evidence of actual hope.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Like seeing somebody be taken out and then speaking to them about exactly their whole process. Like she told me
Mm.
that for a month, she was just sitting in the hospice place in Glendale, refusing to watch TV. Like she was like, no. And the nurse would come in and say, oh, well, is there anything we can.
You can turn it on.
Yeah, yeah. And
You
she'd
want
be
to
like,
watch
no.
something,
And she
right?
would just say, I don't like TV. And then I asked her how long was it until maybe you started to watch something or something. And she said, about a month.
Wow. I know the
Crazy, right?
level it's yeah, cognitive dissonance, right? We're taught to I'm still afraid to go to the doctor, honestly. I hate makes me nervous and scared.
Me too. Dentist. I think I'm so like, look, my teeth are so great. And then I don't know what the fuck it is, Dylan. Like something, and I'm sure it's just like not having that like father and the mother being like, "You're fine. We're gonna get through this. This is really good for you. It's gonna." It's just the not knowing and then having to be demanded and forced to be big enough and strong enough. Like you're old enough. So then you're like, it feels good to get that forced invalidation. I mean, validation, right? So you're feeling like I should be strong enough to deal with this pain if it doesn't hurt, or if this is an engram, oh, I need to be quiet. I shouldn't be talking. I shouldn't, like as a kid, that's what I was thinking the whole time. Like, if it hurts, I can just do a contact assist later or whatever it was. Like, I cannot imagine. I'm like frozen right now because I'm literally like, I cannot imagine this, the constant psychology of this being done to us every day, and how am I still on here talking to you in any kind of sort of common normal way?
I think one thing we were taught was to survive at all costs. And I remember as a kid, like that's the basic urge of a human is to survive. And the dynamics, and then you break it down but I've had to rely on that, a bunch in my life, and I think that's how we do it. Is we cope and we adapt, and um, we see patterns and we change them, or we keep l- learning from those hurtful patterns until we change them. So it's a process. I think once you start healing, it's once you decide to be vulnerable, it's hard to stop feeling again. And I don't know I mean, it's good, but it's also a lot sometimes.
Right, it
So,
can be, and then especially if you don't feel like you have control over it, just feels like it's like a hose, like full pressure, just like
right,
scattering
right.
everywhere.
Or like you're just falling and you're not going to land, and you're just like, holy crap, I don't know if I can just keep falling forever. You
Ooh,
know?
that's a big one for me.
So
Like one of the times I, as a child, when I finally told my mom in like a panic attack, like not even being able to breathe, but just like, they're spanking me. And I couldn't, like, because I wasn't allowed to interbulate her. And the other thing is my dad would always, I always remember him like looking over, like, what's going on over there? Whoa, why is Megan so sad? Like, what's going on? But okay, Megan,
you
mom will
got
handle
spanked?
it.
Is that what you said?
Oh yeah. Like
Like who?
by
Not your dad, obviously. If he was looking over,
no.
going, "What's going on?"
Yeah, no. And I'm gonna tell you the story, but this is the first time my mother even heard of it. Like, so she gets off the bus and they only allow the parents to be coming to the ranch if they finish their, CSP or they're cleaning and they've got an inspection and
Right,
they were whatever editing thing that was going on in my mom's life was all cleared up and done, and she's allowed to have these 2.5 hours or 2 hours. I say 2.5 because it literally takes 15 minutes to the ranch and
right.
then
You
2 hours and then 15
just
minutes
start,
back.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, and then just like having that moment and then being held back when they get off that bus finally. You see it's supposed to be like, okay, they got off the bus and okay, you can go. It's almost like you can stop standing at attention and you can go. That's what it is. You're out of muster, and if your parents don't show up, you stay at attention and you wait until everybody, and then you go back to your dorm and just start cleaning something.
Yeah, keep cleaning and read a book or something.
Yeah, read a book or
Uh,
do something sort of educational.
okay.
I couldn't even
Yeah.
say that fully. But anyway, so there
Well,
was
and that
this
the
point where
whole
my
mindset
mother.
is, yeah. Good.
No, I was just saying there was this point where my mother, basically, I hate to break, like to like, because I've been watching Mike Brown and I seen him like grow and I see his maturity, and I've just spoke to Rosemary and I just love their whole story about them, like the whole group and the community helping this thing happen of getting her out and slowly feeding her little things to slowly open up her mind. But like definitely Mike Brown came in with a bunch of people. It wasn't just Mike Brown, Mike Norton, Foxy, I'm on a live. Please be quiet. Thank you. But like a bunch of like older cadets that used to once be at the ranch. So they knew like they were building, they earlier, like Mike Brown is like 10 years older than me. So that's a big age difference when you're a young child. And as a dad, that's a huge age difference,
Mhm.
period.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
so they were there at the beginning, and then later they came in to reinforce. It was like him, Mike Norton, and then at the time Martin Habscheit was this older German guy that was already at the in ranch. Casavius Tabioyan, he was already also like a groundsper that had already understood like these cadets can get out of control, and so basically it was like reinforced by like 8 big older men, or like men that were just, whatever. They were able to control us physically and with like our minds and punishments, and they knew how to like really get in our heads. Anyways, so during that time, there was all these policy letters of the governance group were pulled out, and one of them said from L. Ron Hubbard, the governess, if it's a dude, or it said the governess, he or she may spank or discipline the children as he or she
Mhm.
fits or sees appropriate.
Right, right.
And because L. Ron Hubbard wrote that, it then made it a free for all for any man to be spanking, and that's bare butt spanking. Like
Right.
if you don't own up and take your pants down and do it yourself, bending over their knee, they sit down and bend you over their
The
knee.
whole build up, right? It's
It just makes me so angry for if I ever have a child, or ever like, that makes me angry even for just my younger self, but to be the father, right? So my mother wasn't I wasn't allowed to get off when she got off the bus. I wasn't allowed to go up to her. Renee Berther was holding me back. Um and I had been fighting with her all week. I had kept swearing because I didn't care how much I basically was like, all you can do is beat the shit out of me, basically. I was like, all you can do is spank me. And I will keep swearing. And I just like kept like hitting her knees, and like I was just basically fighting with her, but like not because, she was pretending to be doing the right thing, the policy. Um,
And
anyways, it
what
got
did
to
your parents do, or was it your father?
Well, it
You
got
said.
to a point. No, so it got to a point where uh, I was still owed like 50 of the spankings out of the 78 was owed to me, and one spanking is bare butt bent over 3 really hard slaps. They even said to Ann Weber and Barbara Tompkins, who were also spanking at the time, they just made everybody, whoever, there was like 5 major, it was like 3 dudes, and then Ann Weber or Renee Berther, who was a young cadet who became an adult just because she turned 18. She was not educated in any way like to be doing that. But anyways, the point is that they had these like random older adults, and not even that older adults, randomly, if they were in the position as the governess IC, even for that day, they would be spanking whoever the fuck accidentally swore, backflashed, didn't get their target done, was out of uniform, didn't run fast enough.
Right.
It got
Yeah,
really
that's
strict.
obvious. Yeah, that's
Oh, so what I
horrible.
was gonna say, sorry, it's like I'm avoiding the actual trauma. My mother, so I get off she gets off the bus, and they hold me back, and I wasn't allowed to see this. So they go up to my Renee Berther and Barbara Tompkins go up to my mom and start talking to her, and then my dad obviously is looking over while he's hanging out with my sister, because at this point my brother's at Gold Base, and my sister is also a cadet. So my dad's hanging out with my sister, and my sister kind of knows, like, oh yeah, my sister's been out of ethics apparently. So they're talking. They have this whole thing, and my mom comes over to me, kind of like in this disappointment face, like, what is going on? Like in care, but like disappointment. Like, I'm here.
Right.
I'm hearing all this stuff. Like, what are you doing pulling all these spankings? Or, like, she didn't know about the spankings. She just was like, she's been swearing, backflashing all week, da da da. So we've been disciplining her, whatever. Then she asked me, what is going on? And I just started crying. I just started bawling. And literally was having a panic attack. I didn't know what that was, but I was like, I couldn't even tell her what was going on. So she pulls me aside and takes me on a locational, as they call it, to calm me down. She's like, okay, let's not talk about any of this. Let's just go on a locational. So she takes me on a locational, and we go around the motels, and then we go back in. And she brings me to my dorm room, and she's like, okay, so what is going on? And all I could do every time she asked me, because it was like with such sweet love, as I thought, um, I couldn't get it out. I was just like so angry, and I didn't even know where to start. And so all I did was just pull my pants down, and I just showed her like these permanent bruise, like handprints from all the spankings that week. And
Did they?
she started crying. She was like,
Right.
she was so shocked. So then I thought, oh my God, my mom finally is the one who's going to understand, because she's my mom, and there's not supposed to be, they should just not be like, I don't know what I thought. I just thought my mom knows, like, I just thought that I'm her child. Like, she knows. So she's going to go tell
Right.
them, like, whatever you're doing, this policy is not supposed to be being applied on my child, or something. Like, I just did. She had no idea that this policy even existed. So she went outside, and all I hear is the dorm room close. And I'm just like, okay, just sitting in there, kind of like, okay. And then, not even, it felt like 1 minute later, she came in with the policy letter, and her face went from like empathy to like, we need to look at this. Look at this policy letter. And did you see this? And I said, yeah, of course I've seen it. Yeah, I've
Right.
argued about this. And then she just said, we need to work on why you're getting spankings. And
But
I just
it's
felt
weird the
like the rug ripped
humanities.
out. No
Yeah,
security,
exactly.
nothing. I was like, oh, I have to do this by myself. I'm dealing with this by myself.
Which is a lot for a child. That's not.
After
Like,
I
we don't
had been
have
waiting
that stuff.
all week
Right.
to tell her.
Thinking it's, I wonder my dad teaches at Delphi still, and, quite a few people, a lot of second gens went to Delphi and were like, "Oh, he's such an amazing person, he's so great." And it's weird how they can have this, like, fanatical, um, viewpoint, like, where they'll choose their faith over their family without even a question, and you get that
It's
I don't
so
it's just so
tearing. It's so
it
tearing.
it
It's like, how do you like, and I all I can relate it to is TRs, like how they just numb you at the beginning, just with TRs. Like the communication TRs of just like,
Right,
get your TRs in, no emotions, no matter what it's about. You're already flunking as a Scientologist if you don't have your TRs in on the basic stuff.
right. Well, and the bull baiting was really, bad in a lot of ways, but it made you very, um, numb and, like, able to just, like, turn it off and
And
not
we say
be
numb,
not
but like
have buttons,
I feel
you
like
know?
the right to have buttons. I feel like the program thing was to it yeah, it wasn't okay to feel vulnerable. It wasn't okay to be like sad or upset or like at effect of something. Like if you're
Right,
not
and
causing
maybe
yourself to cry, then you're at effect. You're at effect of something making you cry.
what I think is strange with the parents is they get in, under their own basically their own free will, and then they adhere to this religion, they think it's gonna be salvation for mankind, they're willing to do whatever it takes, and they're willing to forsake their children. They're willing to be like, ignore what developmental like, what grow how they grew up, because none of them grew up the way you grew up,
Yeah,
you
like
know? I mean, so
I
it's
asked a family
so
member.
strange.
I said, and even now, like even now I'm like, not once did my mom try to teach me something about music or ballet. And yet I'm hearing from Rosemary, all she remembers as me as a kid is I was always performing and singing and trying to show people something. That's so horrible.
Right, well, it's like that I don't know. I I I can relate to my experience was my dad would, I would be really good at a lot of stuff, but I get impatient at the end and I'd screw it up, and it was my dad would always, like, point that out. "See? That's what you got," and it's like, instead of, like,
Oh.
supporting it, it would be then there was the pressure of not doing that, and when I did it, it was like I was my own worst enemy, like
Oh.
caving yourself in and, like,
Caving
all the
yourself in. I'm inturbulated. I did this to myself.
right,
I'm
right.
doing this to myself. If I'm getting angry and more mad, it's because I'm just caving myself in. And the dwindling
Well,
spiral, I always literally physically thought of the dwindling spiral. And I'm at the
it's
bottom
hard to look right, and it's hard to look at our parents as a toxic, dysfunctional environment.
when
'Cause
they were
they're
our
serving the
only
community, and
safety.
they're well, and right, but
Mentally,
they're also
mentally.
serving this greater cause, but
Right? They're
they you
helping the
know
fucking world. How dare we interrupt them?
right, so we normalize this abusive behavior, and we try to find love, and some people eventually take the abuse and decide that's what love is being,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
denying and attacking and silent treatments, and this is how we
And the
love each other.
codependence.
Right. Covert,
And yeah,
hostility.
and I don't feel strong unless I have a lot of people telling me it's okay to be in a relationship with this man, you know?
Right, right. I think, gosh, I don't even gender roles with Scientology is so messed up. I don't trust anything I grew up knowing, and sometimes it's hard to differentiate, so I just try to stay away from those topics because it's so messed up, and I'm a white, it's hard being
Yeah.
sometimes being a guy and trying to be vulnerable and not have to fight everybody or be, like looked at as feminized or it's yeah, it's kind of challenging, especially raising two boys. So it's a lot
Yeah.
harder to do that
I
as
can't
well with
even
them.
imagine like, and so but you feel, obviously you feel like so close with your boys, and like you've learned, I'm sure, so much as, I mean, as a, just as a man who has boys as children, and then but also doing it, I feel like you're the mother as well, kind of in this, like not the mother. I don't even
I
want
think
to.
it was,
I want to.
say
What's
I'm
that?
the primary caregiver, I think would be the right terminology. Um,
I guess that's a
and
brainwashed societal thing too. Like mothers are always the primal, and that's what I want to talk about a little bit, is that it's not, it's totally not that. And I feel like there's something in having, I don't have children, so this is just coming right out of my ass, but I feel like having children, and I've been around children, I've raised children, my friends have children, so I've seen this, and I can't even only imagine what it would do if I ever did have children, right? But it almost forces this mothering nature, right? On
mm,
on
yeah,
on like, how long can you be such a man for your boys? They got to have, this feminine
you
side.
gotta kind of
And it,
be both. Like,
yeah, you got to be the
I
husband
think,
and the wife.
well, not even like that. Like, so Friday was my birthday, and um my ex asked me, what did you do for your birthday? Did you do anything fun? And I was like, yeah, we went and, the boys got haircuts and then we went to a Halloween shop and they got some masks for Halloween. And she's like, well, what'd you do? Was it fun? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's what we did. That was like, for me, I don't know. I don't really like centering myself. So it was just to hang out different. We made it like a day, like, let's go do some, they wanted their haircuts. Halloween's coming. We got some funny masks. We try, like just
To
stuff we
me,
kind of
that
normally
sounds
do. But
fun.
right, and you don't have to, every day doesn't have to be like an amusement park and Six Flags. And,
No.
and we hang out, every day. I get up and make lunch and get them to school. And then I go
Yeah.
work and then I pick them up and drive them home and make them food. And like, it's kind of, um, it's a lot. So just taking a day and going off and goofing around like that, I mean, isn't that what it's all about? You don't have to, you know,
Do you
ask.
how long, I mean, mixing that with, I mean, I don't know how long, I don't know how long it was for you when you had your kids and when you left the Sea Org. Like how much time you had to kind of just do whatever, and then when you have kids, it's just like, to me it feels like a whole other route of life, right? That you're really like exploring and learning for ourselves, especially when we didn't have families. And a lot of times during Christmas or holidays, people are like, "Where are you going? Oh, you going home for the holidays?" Like, to me, that's such a
Mm,
assumed, brainwashed, regular idea that people just
yeah.
have homes or a permanent house that they must have grown up in. No, that definitely didn't
Well,
happen.
and in society a lot, people do assume that everybody has somewhere to go. And,
Right.
so in the holidays it is harder. But no, I didn't have kids right out of the Sea Org. I was actually married in the Sea Org, to somebody.
Did you
And
leave with
uh,
them or no?
no, she was still in. She's third generation.
She's
Um,
still in right
I
now.
uh-huh, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
wow. Okay.
Her parents are actually some of the people that Matt Pesh talked about, that are at Flag, that are at the hacienda under care or care.
Medical room stuffed with
MLO.
eight
Yes,
elders.
really
Yeah.
just not okay. And it's I mean, they don't have um anybody to advocate for them, and she probably doesn't even know. She's up at Gold. She probably has no clue that they're under, care, or even, a way to go see them. Um,
She's at
so
gold.
yeah,
Your
no,
ex is at gold. I
yeah.
hate to say your ex. That's such a weird societal
I
thing
know
too.
it
That's
is
so
weird. It's
annoying. I don't
weird. It's
like it.
weird
It's
to
like
think I've
a
been married at
chain.
like,
It's like, no.
right, right. Yeah,
No.
society's a trip. Um, When I left the Sea Org, I wasn't gonna I never thought about having kids. I mean, I did kind of, but
Well,
um,
you know my trip. Yeah, I got married at 19 and I left the Sea Org and then I was being wild and promiscuous. I was like literally just having so much fun flirting and not even, I wasn't being too crazy sexually. Literally, I wasn't. But I just
right,
felt like I was because we did nothing. There was no way to ever show anybody, and you weren't allowed to flirt. Like, when was I allowed to actually have permission to flirt?
yeah, it was the whole
It was
courting thing in
always
the
not
Sea Org
okay
was
until it was
really
approved.
difficult, right? And
Yeah.
and even like before that, everybody was like, "Are you? Did you go out to D? Did you go?" It was like
Yeah.
every
Oh,
day
you
you
guys are dating, you
like,
gonna go
"Is
out to
this how
D.
you do? Am I? Are we heavy petting? What are we doing?"
I'm
Like,
like, is yeah, you're like, oh, is the little rub on the hand instigating
yeah,
the heavy petting?
right? Or you get assigned emergency, and you're like, "Okay, no more of that. Let's not."
Yeah, yeah, we got close. I don't want lower conditions
Right? It's like
or RPF.
it's too much. Um, yeah, no.
Uh,
So it was getting. I mean, there was hard to court. It was hard to date, but people just seem to get married. I kind of think, but I don't know. I mean,
so she's at goal base, and then you when did was she at goal base when you were at CSD?
no, she was at CST as well.
Oh, okay.
And then she got busted down, and then I got busted down and sent to the
So
RPF.
getting busted down means busted down to gold.
Yes,
Okay, that's just an interesting concept. When
busted
David,
to RTC. She got busted to RTC. So that's
yeah, like she got busted down to the.
well, she did. She had to expedite under Shelley and HCO, and
Oh yeah,
like do some conditions and
yeah.
sec checking and whatnot.
That's
It's
so
just
crazy. That's so crazy. Okay, so whatever. So then, I mean, not so whatever, but so then when did you get a divorce? Like, or when did you leave? Like,
worse. No, I left. I
were you,
never
no,
did it.
but I mean, did you were like, I want to leave, so I'm getting a divorce? Or
No,
you divorced, stayed a little, and then left
she wrote a KR on me, for originating communication to her.
about
So
wanting to leave?
no, just talking to her, um,
About what?
about having not seen her in a year and how was she and is she okay and what's happening and what are we doing and
Like she wrote a report on you thinking you were trying to pry information from her or something?
no, I mean at that point she was working in RTC under Shelley, and I was on the decks and on the RPF, so I wasn't
Why?
supposed to be communicating with people or looking at people or any way, shape, or form trying to like flow any kind of like anything towards anyone.
No
So
voodoo moves. Yeah.
yes, no
Wait, so but
staring,
you
no
guys were still
communication.
married? You were married though. This is what's so
Uh-huh. Yeah.
insane.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're
No.
married and so but you were sneaking a little something and so she wrote a report on you for what? What was the report
No,
about?
I was kind of like I was determined to find her because I'd been on the RPF for like months and I hadn't seen her.
Oh my
So I would like
god.
stay at the dining. I would try to get to the dining hall early, and they figured that out. So they like would make me wait. Um, yeah, it was kind of a cat and mouse thing. And finally, I saw her one day, and I had to run across the street and talk to her through the fence. And
You're like, I need a
yeah,
divorce.
no, it wasn't that. I was like, I haven't seen you. How are you? Um,
Was she
and it was
sweet? Was she like, hi?
yeah. Well, she was like, just get through the RPF, and everything will be okay. And da da da. Da.
Aw.
And
Was she
I
like,
was
I'm
like,
waiting
okay,
for
cool.
you? Yeah.
Well, yeah, well, we didn't have a fight. Like she got
Oh.
busted from her post because she couldn't get any stats. And so eventually she got busted.
Dylan, I don't know what's happening. Why am I so emotional? It's just like why? Why were humans tortured for no reason?
Or why do they torture themselves? I mean, it's one of those things
Yeah, oh
maybe
my
it's a
god.
conscious choice, like You
No,
have all
because
this influence
Scientology teaches you to do that to yourself. Scientology
but
teaches you
we
to
all
attack
ultimately
your
made
thought
that
process.
choice because I made the choice
How
to
did I
leave.
make
So,
that choice? Oh, well, that's
how
true.
did I make
Well,
that choice, right?
the
Like,
only
I get it
well,
too. But,
technically I was trying to leave the ranch, technically, right? Technically
right.
I was trying to blow the ranch
And if
because I
you were
blew a
old
fucking
enough, you
thousand
would have
times.
probably,
If I was
but
old
you,
enough, right. But
so,
how would
and
I
then you
know?
should have,
Because there were
as a
people
child,
who no, Dylan,
you
there were
should have
people who were
wanted to,
older than me that couldn't leave the ranch.
well, I mean, I blew from
Like
that.
Mike Brown, for example, he wanted to leave. He really wanted to do, like, I remember him talking about that. And then I just
What
remember like Sarah
video you did?
Leobard.
That video where you the creek and the
Yeah.
that's how I left.
That's
I
literally
ran down
why
the
I was in
creek.
the creek, and
I,
I'm still annoyed at the documentary person of just he could have put such a very important documentary together.
but that was my, like my choice. So it was kind of, I could have
Right?
probably
There's
left
these
CST.
little sparks, right, that made us. What made you? Did you think I'm gonna blow? I'm gonna run down the creek and what? And then what?
Get away
But
and not
but
get
but what
caught.
does that mean? There's like literally not even a
Uh,
place in our mind. Just means to get out from
I
this.
had nowhere to go. Yeah,
Exactly.
I had
That's
no
what I
option.
mean. Like every time I
I was
blew,
in the RPF. I had nothing. I
yeah.
had like
And I was at the ranch,
being segregated from everybody else because I was at CST. So I couldn't even interact with a lot of the
but
RPF.
how fucking damn good did it feel to run away? Like for
Felt
just the
about
hour to be
30
the
days.
7, 8 hours to be gone.
Yeah, no, I didn't experience it that way, unfortunately. Um,
Okay. Well, I experienced the only time I experienced blowing or running away was at the Ant Ranch. Like even
right.
in Clearwater, Florida, I my blow was like, I'm going to the theater. They knew where I was going, and I told them where I was going. And I didn't care. And I was
I'm
like,
going to Sunshine Mall and going to the theater.
and then I will be back by 5:30 to see
Right.
my sister come off the bus.
We used to blow all the time, I guess,
Right.
like
But there were times there was something that hit me. I think it was maybe at the ranch. There was one time where I was like, oh, it was because I was trying to blow with Sarah Leobard, Alex Nunn, and Rebecca Jacobson. And Sarah Leobard and Rebecca Jacobson, and I believe Alex Nunn and Lewis, their dad is out of like they were never in Scientology or the Sea Org. So
right,
they all had parents that were wogs technically. That's what they would call them. So they were able to they knew that if they ran away to get to a payphone,
like
they knew
phones.
that they could. Rebecca had already her dad. I wish I can get a hold of Rebecca Jacobson. If you're out there, Rebecca, you know I'm trying to get a hold of your ass. Anyways, I think her dad was some secret agent or something and was like, my daughter, if I hear any more about like, anyways, he gave her some code that it was like a prepaid code, and we learned it verbatim. I learned it in case
Right.
I needed to call. So what
It's like
happened
those
is Sarah
prepaid
Leah
phone cards. You had to
yeah,
like
yeah, that
get
you could prepay
long distance
on
or
a
whatever.
yeah, on a payphone though. You could like you could pick up the
Right. Like
payphone, put
Nextel or something, you could like dial the digits
and it would be
and
free for
beep,
whatever
beep, beep, beep,
call.
beep, and then you could like dial what you needed, the number.
Yeah, so I was like these cadets are
That's
fucking out ethics. These cadets are like they have this blow planned. And that moment I thought, "Oh my god, if I go with them, I don't have my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister."
you have to sleep on the couch.
I was
Uh,
like I was like, am I just going to have some random father take care of me? That's what I
that's
thought. Is
probably
Rebecca Jacobson's dad going to take care of me? And so
right,
that's
right.
what we thought, right? So we blew. And I just thought, well, whatever. I don't know. I'll see how this goes. Maybe, I'll do liability. I'll do all my conditions. If it sucks, I'll just come back and make up all the amends. That's what I thought. I can always come back and make up the amends. I'm really good at that.
Right. It's only liability. I mean, you just have to make up the damage. You
Well,
know,
no,
decide
well,
what group you want to be a
no,
part of.
it
Well,
was
well, it was,
worse than
yeah,
that. It was, you're leaving your
you were
job,
enemy.
your post, you're
Right?
no
Causing
treason.
the
Hat's not
trees.
wearing. because I was the gopher in
You're a
charge.
cadet? Oh, I
I
gotcha.
was the gopher and I was the animal's gopher in charge. So I was killing all the gophers. Wow, what a lovely thing to make a little child do.
Caddyshack. You should do a little Caddyshack parody. Paint Ranch, Caddyshack. Maybe not.
Dylan.
Um,
Yeah, so I
well,
just felt, yeah, the gophers, gopher traps. That was like how is a child's statistics to kill animals? That is so horrible. I love gophers. I fucking when I see them at the park, I'm like, look, the sun's coming up. That means gophers are coming. And I'm like, I'm so sorry I killed any of you. And of course, all the cats
where I
and
live,
it's
prairie
normal.
dogs are like the little
Yeah.
version of hamsters.
Oh, those
They're
are
not.
all over Colorado. I'm like,
They're
there's the
not.
prairie dogs.
All the farmers around here, they definitely are not fans of
Oh,
the
they hate.
call. Not at all. They gas them, they shoot them, they do pretty much everything. It's pretty crazy. But hey, that's what you do. I guess when you're growing stuff.
Yeah, but not when you're growing up as a child. Like,
No, absolutely. It's not. I mean, the stuff that like it's. I
have
think
you?
the
Okay,
way
I have a
I
weird dad question. Have you had any weird things with your children, your sons, like where they're like really into dissecting and slicing animals?
no, not at all. They're not
So that's just like a fake
violent
fear.
at all.
I was like, oh my God, what if I have a son someday and they're gonna, like, that's a fake fear,
Just
right?
like snakes and snails and puppy dog tails. Is that it? And sugar and spice and everything nice.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not so much. My boys are pretty good. I'm trying to teach them how to be humans and
Good luck.
respect each other. Well, actions, louder than words, and those kind of things. And it's a lot harder um, than you think. I think it's definitely difficult.
It is fucking. I just feel like also I just heard difficult, and then I was just like, yeah, especially when your father. Oh, so there's a weird thing with my father. Like in my memory and in my, like when I view or think of my father, I think of what the fuck, right? I think like what the fuck, dad. Like in so many points, I do feel like he did try, in so many times. Like he
Right?
was trying to make things easy for me. He was trying,
I,
like
I just literally saw that you could click on comments and look at the comments.
yeah, I was like, Dylan, get on
I
it.
didn't, I didn't even realize that you could
If
even look
you
at
but if you click if you like if you see a question, no, this is perfect, Dylan. If you see a question or anything, click on it and pull it up. Just let me know. Or if you want to star it, then we can totally bring it up because I'm sure a lot of people.
I
I
just
like to
like I
chat
just
with everybody first and
oh,
then
start. Let's see, start. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
so you can start on the
I'll
right and
figure it
then
out. I don't know.
otherwise I get distracted by everybody. Like they're amazing, so I'm like, yeah, I know. Like and then I'm having a conversation with the chat instead of Dylan.
Right? No, it
Yeah.
happens. I get it. Um,
Aw.
I think, I guess to answer your question about if I had kids right after I left or not, um, I didn't, and um, I
Were you
ended up
trying to
kind of
not? Were you like trying to
no,
stay away from that? Because I was. Like, even when I got married at 19, I was like, okay, I love you, but we're not doing the kid thing for like 4 years.
no, I didn't. Well, I wasn't like when I left. I obviously left my wife. I left everything. I didn't even leave the base I was at, so I had like all my clothes were up at CST. I had a drum set. I had all sorts of stuff. Um, and it was all just I just left it all. But yeah, when I
What
got
about like your
out,
kid pictures and all that? Do you still have any of those?
no, I didn't like when I left for the Sea Org, I had, but the clothes on my back and like a duffel bag and some letters from LRH and that was about it. Um and
I hate that
billionaires
so
packed
much
by
about all of
that
us.
kind of figure. Um but yeah, after I left, when I got um they didn't catch me right away. So it took about a month for them to track me down. And it was probably because I called my dad and my uncle. And um, then I got a declare where I was staying. And then I wasn't able to stay there anymore. And so I had to just kind of like bounce around for um, a couple of years, do some living, living free. um, but yeah. So
Living
I
free in our minds at that time.
yeah, well no,
What
I
we
mean honestly I I was I ended up not having anywhere to live. So I ended up just kind of going wherever and sleeping wherever and eating whatever. And I didn't,
like you really
getting
mean
in.
I want people to really hear this, Dylan. Like you really mean that when you're saying that. Sleeping wherever, eating wherever.
Well, yeah, I mean I slept under bridges a lot. I was in like Northern California for a while. And it's the weather's pretty good there. It gets kind of cold. And we or I had to you'd kind of hang out in groups sort of, and then the groups would get really weird, and then you'd have to kind of branch out on your own. So you get sort of like I don't know, sort of comfortable and thinking, okay, I can go back. And then, some people get on like drugs or get weird and or people would fight or start hitting. It was just, a lot of mental um instability, I guess would be the right words. Um So I had to do a lot of yucky stuff. I had to steal more than I would have ever liked to. Um, but I don't know what else I was supposed to do at the time. So
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I ended up kind of all over when that's kind of why it's sort of the blow drill thing too was like I really got after I left the Sea Org and I got declared and my family kind of all disowned me and then my extended family like I don't know I didn't show it like I look back and I probably should have just like said hey I don't know what to do I'm freaking out but apparently per my family I looked normal and nothing seemed to be wrong so um yeah I think the first day I walked out was more of the scarier times but then I kind of repeated that over and over by leaving little groups and then going. I went to LA for a while. I went to San Luis Obispo for a while. New Orleans was really scary. Ended up in some really yucky situations there. Um, but um, yeah, taking trains. I ended up in Chicago for a while. I ended up in
When you
Florida.
say taking trains, is this a New Orleans things? Like I've heard like even my ex was talking about when he was younger, he would fucking jump on those trains and like cut across in New Orleans, like all throughout, like I don't know, he would just train hop is what he would say.
You can sort of train hop, but it's like hard when you don't know where you're going. So,
Mm.
you don't know where to get off and you don't know how long it is till the
In
next
your
and we're
situation, yes.
pre-internet, so it was kind
Oh
of
yeah.
um,
Wait,
you
did
have
you
to
know
figure
what the
it out.
internet was when you left?
No, there
Neither.
wasn't really
Yeah.
anything. We could listen to the radio and that was about it. Like
Yeah.
there was all TV was there was about 7 to 10 years of TV that I was like, whoa, I've never even heard of this show. You know?
Same.
But, um,
Years,
so yeah,
even like
it's
there's one or two that people will catch me on, like, you haven't seen this? And I'm like, no. They're like, Laura. I'm like, God. I'm like,
right.
well,
Well, and that secludedness is it's hard. I mean, I don't know. It's like anything. You can look at the Sea Org I could tell you funny times and happy times, and I could kind of do the same a little bit about um, being homeless is, a random person would I remember one time I was on a train and it was right around the time that Arrested Development came out. I forget it It was like Mr. Wendell was one of their
Yeah.
hits, but the album itself was amazing. And it was about them kind of breaking into the industry and how hard it was and taking the bus and like, it was a lot of stuff that for me I could relate to because kind of, hip hop sort of came up when as I'm the same age as Snoop, so what are you gonna do? And
That's awesome.
but it was those times where it's like, that was one of the times where I decided if I wasn't gonna get off the train, I was just gonna get on it. Um, and I was listening I had a cassette Walkman, and I was listening to that, and
Like this.
yeah, exactly. Well, not exactly, but yes, similar,
I mean,
similar
this
in a
is
way.
a lot. This is nicer and newer.
It looks pretty
Uh,
fancy,
I
actually.
love these things. Like
Pretty
I'm
fancy.
obsessed with VHSs and tape players. Like just for this reason,
Cassettes need so
in
much
case.
love and
Oh,
attention because
oh,
that would
in,
be that's a pretty handy little toy. I
I
like
love it.
that.
Yeah. But yeah,
But
sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, no, either way, I think it's hard to be uncomfortable all the time. I think it's one of those things that when you don't have anywhere to go and you don't have, that like we were talking about that family, that connection that you feel, but it's not there.
Right.
And
It's an
and that's
empty
what's so
hole of
hard.
want.
Right. And it's, I held on to that for so long and I hurt myself and I hurt other people that um just by wanting to have that conversation with my father, wanting to, like I thought that if I could just sit him down and talk to him, if I could just like explain like what happened and what, that I wasn't a suppressive person and that I am his son and we're family. Like that's, you know, it it's a hard thing to let go of. I held on to it like really tightly for a long time. And
I catch myself. Actually, my end kind of straw is like, why am I, why am I like needing this person to feel happy about something I'm trying really hard to do? And then that's it. It's like, that's it. If I've already done so much and then I'm still, then it's like, then that's kind of like my new learned boundary. It's like, let it go. And the amazingness you feel of just letting something go that is just holding you back, even if you think it's so precious.
right, no, absolutely. And there's a lot of healing in letting stuff go. And um it's hard though. It's like never wanting to shut it's such a with disconnection and all that kind of stuff, it's so like multifaceted. There's no um difference in like one person. It's just so hard to like, you want that family, you want that connection, and it's so you see it everywhere. It's reinforced. The holidays are coming up. Thanksgiving, it's supposed to be forgiveness, right? But it's not just Scientology. Like there's a lot of hurt, traumatized people going around holding on to that and manifesting that in hurtful behavior. And it's that healing journey is so hard to look at and to confront. Um, and when you do, it's not like it's all, oh great, you have a good feeling, but then it's like now I really have to look at this trauma and I really have to look at um how I behaved and what my part in it was as well. Like I went even as a kid, I was susceptible and I wanted to mirror my family and I wanted to be a good Scientologist and a good Sea Org member and a good human and personal integrity. So um I still look at that. I still look at integrity and I still have a hard time deciphering what I learned and what I believed as good and what is really good and and it's with the mental health field kind of embracing a lot more, um, different types of trauma, it makes it a lot easier to start speaking your truth about what you experienced. I read a periodical when I was at the University of Nevada, Reno, that talked about divorces and divorce rates, and they did like a 10-year study on how children were affected by divorce rates, and age groups, and they try to do similar age groups between 10 and 15 years old, kind of like formative years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it, we were studying bell curves. So to me, the parental study was way more important than the bell curve. But the data basically was like, so how many people did it not seem to affect? How many people seemed to excel afterwards? And then how many people, maybe chose to hurt
What's the bell
themselves,
curve?
or
What is it you're saying? What is that?
a bell curve is like a simple bell curve. It's like a bell. And
Okay.
so when you do statistics or you do any kind of data gathering, you'll find a curve of like,
Like
few
where what?
percent that'll react a certain way, and then the
Okay.
majority will be on this curve,
Oh, and it's
and
called a
then
bell curve. Okay.
that's right. And I'm
Okay, so
sure
the
I
change in statistics or whatever, like that, like immediate curve or
right,
whatever.
and it's a way to kind of like gauge how events will affect, in this case, children, like a divorce
Mm-hmm.
of parents, which is pretty common to a lot of the stuff we experienced as children, Scientology and the Sea Org. Um, so that bell curve kind of showed that it's like we're all adaptable, but we're also, we're all gonna, if you're abused, you're gonna be hypervigilant. You're gonna do things to not have that continue, right? So if we kind of start putting ourselves
To
into
protect
these
yourself.
little, well, of course, and that's a normal behavior
Also, that
from an
definitely,
abnormal set of
so
circumstances.
annoying. It reminds me of the reactive mind. Like,
Well, and it's weird to where, like, right, I relate a
eh,
lot of it to Scientology and stuff too, but getting over the gag factor, there
yeah.
are some
That's
parallels
what I
of
mean. Like, that's
of
where I
mental
am. Like,
health.
okay. Like, not that the analytical reactive, but there are so many parallels. And there's a reason for it because L. Ron Hubbard stole really good, intelligent, psychological information and then called it Scientology and just changed the
Well,
language
and
of
he
it.
he stole it like 80 years ago, like 70 years ago now. Like,
Literally, like,
that's when he was compiling everything and then put it into Dianetics and Scientology, religious philosophy, and, knowing how to know and all this stuff. Um, which is a whole different
literally. Yep.
but but deciphering that and having some, like, knowledge of mental health and how the brain works, and whether it's, it obviously is incorrect the way he put it out, but it's, correct enough to relate to, like, from what we learned, it's like, "Oh, that sort of makes sense, but I'm not supposed to be a victim, and I'm not supposed to do this, and and I've lived thousands of lifetimes, so I should know better," and uncoding all that. I was talking to somebody the other day, and it's a weird thing where it's like, for me, I had to fall really hard in order to kind of start to build back up, and some people don't seem to fall hard, but then they do the work. And then some people, maybe
You
don't fall as hard and don't ever really feel the need or are pressured to do the work. Like, nothing in their environment, is, so people see it's sort of the bell curve. Like, not everybody's going to react exactly to the same set of circumstances. Like
totally.
Sterling Tompkins,
Yeah.
amazing human being, like super sweet. Sterling has been, ever since I've known him, he's been the same person that he is right now.
Uh-huh.
Like, super caring, super sweet,
Hmm.
like, and like a lot
A
of us
little
were
bit of a show
ignorant.
off.
Of
A
course, like,
lot of
and
bit
then
of a show off.
yeah, well, but
But anyways, no,
that's
I totally know what you mean. And same with me. Like I'm the same probably it's like Rosemary
you're
tonight. Sorry,
lesbian.
going back to
You're
Rosemary, but like Rosemary was telling me how she saw me as a child. And I was like in my mind I'm like, "Well, that is me." Like she's absolutely right. And then she told me I
right.
just never understood why they thought you were always just in trouble or a bad girl. And I was like, Rosemary, stop being this sweet little angel that you literally have always been. And then I'm like, oh, we are all the same people that we were. Like, that's so crazy.
I'll give you a kind of a parallel. Like, you know how they would call people like ethics bait,
Uh huh.
or like
Yeah, that's
you're
like,
like that was like the you kind of what you were. You were the problem kid. You wouldn't conform, so you were kind of like ethics bait.
or
Um,
they would say the opinion leader at a certain point. They said, oh, you're an OL. And I thought, I didn't know what that meant. I was like, OL. I thought, oh no, like you're an SP. I thought it was going to be like that. And then they're like, you're an
no,
I was like, what's an OL? I don't know though. And they're like, an opinion leader. So they made me look up what's an opinion leader, and I thought, oh, so it's a person who's an opinion leader of like a group or somebody, or makes a group follow them. And
right,
and then for some reason it was supposed to be an insult to me, and I took it
right.
even
Which in
as
Scientology, there's only
even
one opinion leader.
even
It's
as
not you.
yeah, even as like a 9 year old, I was like, well, that's because I'm great and I understand everybody, even if they're in ethics or out ethics.
Right,
And they
right.
did not like that. They just laughed. Some kids laughed, and then some adults were just like, that's what we're talking about. Right
But
there.
do you remember
That joking and
filling out
degrading.
the life history form?
Oh my God. So I had to
It
do
was just
that.
huge. It was pages and pages. And
And
when I was in the EPF and I was going to the CMO EPF, I had to fill out this, all these sec checks. There's a whole bunch of different stuff. And they're like, hey, we have one question on your life history form. And I was like, oh, okay, what is it? They're like, here you answered, do you have an open mind? And you said yes. And I was like, right. Like, yeah, of course I have an open mind. Like I look at all things and look at things from different, and they're like, no, 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 you don't have an open mind. And you're supposed to say, no, you don't have an open mind. And they showed there's a policy that backs it up, and I don't know what it is. But
but
it, yeah, it was kind of
that's very
crazy.
interesting. Like, wouldn't so so I think that they relate somebody to an open mind is somebody the equivalent of like somebody who did LSD, or somebody who's like just ready to do, and just you know, and they were like
Right,
telling you,
right.
no, Dylan, you do not have an open mind. You are a Sea
That
Org
was
member.
what you did. Like that was you only at that point it was like policy. If it's not
Right.
written, it's not true.
If it isn't written, it's
So
not
you
true.
don't have an open mind because there are no other options besides red on white,
That's
green on
exactly what
white.
it is. There's
That
no other
was
options
right.
other than L. Ron Hubbard's policies writing,
And that's just the Sea Org. I mean, that's
which is
not normal.
everything. It could be
Right.
the ethics side of it. It could be or it could be the OT levels or the training. You could it's all L. Ron Hubbard. L. Ron Hubbard. If you
Well,
have a question about how to cook a tomato, ask L. Ron Hubbard.
yeah, I don't know if there's anything in the HU about that. Um,
I'm just saying
but
that's
there was
literally what it
one
is.
different path.
Like,
Like HCOBs trumped HCOPLs, and then HCOPLs trumped any like flag
wait,
orders
I
of
did.
the
Wait, whoa, 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 whoa. I remember this. I remember this. I don't understand it though. I do remember this. I
second
do
admin.
remember that like an FO wasn't as important as like the green on white, the policy
Oh yeah,
letters.
no, absolutely. We used to
Like
try.
FOs were just like, oh, that happened on the ship. Those could change anytime, right? Kind of a thing,
You could
or no?
also use those if there was no policy that people knew. You could use a flag order
To go
as
back,
policy. Yeah, and
like
as
out
policy,
FO
you
38.
could trump it.
Like don't
Right,
be
right.
in the hallways. And
Right. If
don't
somebody turned up
gauge
and-
cigarettes. Is that what they called it?
Oh,
Don't
catch.
cadge.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, don't do that. Some of it was good.
What do you feel like the purpose of that was? Just to like not
Like
fraternize?
etiquette. I think it was him faking the whole Navy thing. Like it was totally unnecessary. And
Oh,
maybe to keep
but
people
no.
in
But what I'm
control.
asking is, do you think it? But I'm asking, do you think it was um like to not disrespect an officer? Like you don't fucking ask an officer for a cigarette. Like that's fucking disrespectful, right? So they're mimicking the real military or the real official sea, you know, officials, and they're just like, right? Isn't that what it is? They're saying kind of like, how dare you ask? How dare Shelley ask, where is I mean, how dare Leah ask, where's Shelly Miscavige? It's the same idea. It's
Right.
like, how dare you ask or casually, hey, Mr. Officer, can I bum a smoke from you? Like that's too casual. That could
Right.
easily
And
that could
maybe that was
easily
for PR for the armed forces during the war or something. I honestly don't know where that was yanked from, but I know a lot of people
somebody will
misuse that
know.
policy or that flag
Okay, but
order.
what were you saying? Well, let's go back to what you were saying. So you're saying so FOs, I knew that. So FOs aren't as high. Like, can we do the priority? So policy green on white, which I
Well,
love
so
to make fun of
even
because I smoke weed, and so I like to be like,
right,
"Hey, green on the white paper,"
right.
whatever, But so wasn't that like the most important policy? The
No,
policy is this, or
POB
technical
is always senior.
technical bulletins, which is red on white.
Right.
Okay, this
And
is fun,
ethics
Dylan.
is senior.
I have never really,
And flag was different. Flag was different than pack, than int. Like it was
right?
because flag
Wasn't
had,
it like,
it was totally
why?
because it was the mecca of technical perfection.
Wait, I didn't quite get that. What was it?
Mecca of technical perfection.
No, it glitched. You need to say it very clean and clear in the mic.
I did. It's the second
And you
time
need to
saying
say the. Go.
it. Said the mecca of technical perfection. That's
Now
exactly what.
that was technical perfection.
And it was. I mean, flag. Everybody looked. Even it's. It's a shame because like we grew up in this like clique,
Yep.
this cliquey group where
Kind of like a
it,
gang. It's so ridiculous. It's like
it was,
kind of
and it
like a
was a bunch of
professional
gangs doing the
gang.
same thing. Like the birthday game was a perfect example of how they pit people against each other.
Right.
All the
Ooh.
units were all against each other, and they're all trying to win the game. And you get like because you get like it, you actually get to go out to dinner. We went to Busch Gardens one time. It was amazing. And so
Can we
yeah, I
talk
think it
about
was
that?
Busch Gardens.
Yeah, like your experience of being able to leave the Sea Org for a few hours. That's what it felt like. You were allowed to
Well, the whole
not be
organ.
on post.
Yeah. Like everybody in
People
our
don't
org
understand this concept. They go to Busch Gardens tomorrow if they want.
it was amazing. And it was always like it sucks because I was
Didn't
always
you
the guy
only go once or
on the board.
twice
Oh yeah.
out of like the
Oh,
8
never
or
quite.
5 years you were there?
We went out to dinner like a couple times and on the causeway and out on the beach. That was pretty awesome. They had peanuts on the floor.
But
We
how
tried to go to
long?
a Dio
In how
concert
long?
and we
How
were
many
there.
years? How many years?
In like 4 years when I was there.
Wait, you tried to go to what concert?
A Dio concert.
What happened?
Well, we didn't have tickets, so that was kind of a problem. We got to the parking lot, um, and it was a few people. One of the girls on the Aftermath, Heather, Geary. I knew her as Heather Bloomberg, but and a few other people, and a couple of people I won't name because they're bad people now. Um, and yeah, we all liked Dio at the time, and
That's
which
so
was
funny.
weird, right? Because Holy Diver came out and it was like so anti-churchy. Um, yeah, we totally CSW'd it or like tried that we had got approved to go
I love
and
that. I just love that you're like, we totally CSW'd. That was such a normal thing. I heard a conversation with my mom talking to a non Scientologist, right? And this is me
right,
younger, being like, my mom just said something not okay. She was talking to like an aunt or something, and she was saying, yeah, no problem. Yeah, we just CSW'd. And they just, and I was like, she has no idea that she just used a non like yeah. That was a while ago, but I remember thinking that in Canada I couldn't believe I heard her say that naturally in her language. But my aunts and uncles just kind of, oh yeah, okay, approval. Oh good, approval. Okay, PO order. Oh, we know that.
right, right.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, well, when you're in a system, you learn how to navigate the system or you get chewed up. It's Scientology is a bureaucracy, no doubt about it. And some people thrive in that, and some bad people thrive in that. It's kind of a a nurturing ground for really like borderline megalomaniac kind of personalities. So um it's a strange place to have come from and to have learned how to life and
It
people
feel it feels
because
like also that it doesn't um like we say, like every step we're taking, it feels like we're constantly going back and being and thinking about something in the past, in the Sea Org, in Scientology. It always has to do with the Sea Org, with Scientology.
right.
That is so corrupt. That is like the intensity. Oh, you know what even made me more think that is when Mike Brown was talking about him being like hit by fire or something, like in a helicopter when he's flying, because he's he flies. That's like his
Mhm.
thing. And he said one of his most traumatic experiences was that, and he said like there was something during, I don't know if I got this wrong, but like something during that made he thought, oh, I would be thinking about this. He was thinking about his dream or something. Waking up was being back in the Sea Org at Gold Base
Right.
during
I've
like
had
his combat and stuff
experience like
like
that,
that.
and
Sorry, what's that?
it's trauma. Yeah, it's that proves it right there. Like the to recall trauma during trauma, like you don't recall like nice, so it's yeah, it's a hard thing to dissect. I kind of given up trying to, I don't know that I
Yeah,
can ever
there's no way to do
over
it. You just
you
talk
just
and
have to
then it
cope
does it.
and survive with it and hope that, um I try to, like, with my kids, we don't talk a ton about it. Um, but we did
Do they
for
have any
younger.
kind of concept like
Yeah, no, they watched like my video with Aaron, I think, or
what
one of
do they
those.
say to you at the end? Do they have any questions? Do they not talk? Because that's a
And
bad
I didn't
sign.
like watch it over their shoulder. They probably,
I'm
I
just
think they
kidding.
found it when we were doing it, but
No, no, no. I'm saying, but like, do you have deep conversations where you're like, or are you kind of not having those conversations at all with them?
I'm the conversations that I have with my kids now as I deal with a lot of the shame and stuff that comes from their mother's side. And which is also my fault because, like, it's weird, the more you heal and the more you learn, there's so many more layers. Like,
Right.
I think I healed
And
to a point where I could like handle myself and became very codependent like I didn't realize it from being,
mhm.
from my life to that point. And so I was like, oh, no big deal. You're right. I can change. I can do. And for 10 years, I just was like, yeah, no big deal. Then pretty soon I was like, wait a minute, this isn't how I define like a relationship. Like, this isn't, I didn't go through all this stuff in my life to then be devalued and to be told that I'm, obviously depressed and to be, marginalized and all these things. And it's like, yeah, I probably do have some depression. um, it's hard to think about years of like talking to my kids about that is really hard. Like, I don't know how to say, and even when people now, like, even with the X community to some degree, people, they want to hear that you're doing well. They don't, and most society wants to hear that is like, oh, so you're good, you made it, everything's good in your life. You're like, you have nothing to complain about.
oh,
And it's like,
Laura's so happy. She's look at her. She's so gung ho.
right,
Are you fucking
right.
kidding me? Are you literally kidding me?
Well, what are we supposed to
It
what are you supposed to do? Just like cry all day and walk
yeah.
around like that?
This is what I
Right.
got now.
That's awesome. It's
Me
like a
and
movie,
Laura, one on one
right?
cry therapy. Those videos are coming soon, guys. Trust.
I love it.
But for real, Dylan, it's fucking insane. Like, it's like that's exactly what I'm trying to say. And I keep saying it. It's a day to day thing. Every day. There's not one day that it's just gone that I'm not thinking either A, about the Sea Org, Scientology, my mom, my parents, my dad, my family's relationship to me. Oh, I wish I could. There's so many things. So
Right. And I think
It never goes
your
away, but
parents,
we get stronger, and we
right?
also are so joyful and loving about learning about real life and real therapy and DNA and family and your sons. I should go get pregnant. Just kidding. Wow. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, that would just be the ultimate. That would be the ultimate correct RPF, right? Like,
Well,
here's
no, and I
go
will say
learn
that
life, Lara.
when
I've
I
done everything else.
my biggest thing on having kids was that if at the time I was like, if we're gonna have kids, somebody is going to be a parent. Like, I
100%.
know what it's
Right.
like to not have a parent.
Mm-hmm.
My ex, has a father who's an alcoholic and a mother who's like an extremely controlling, manipulative individual. And it's you have
You're
to be there
not
for your kids.
repeating
You
the
don't make your
pattern.
kids account for you, and right, and trying to break those chains. And I was really clear on that, and I stayed with it. I put my kids first. I still do. Because this is even now, like, my kids are 14 and 12, and this is the time where it starts. Like, everything up until now is just practice. Like, this is where they get to figure out what their passion is, what they want to do. And I'm here to be like, look, here, I'm making a safe space for you, and somebody that won't judge you and will just communicate with you, because you need a place to retreat. The world's going to question you and judge you and challenge you, and that's okay, as long as you have a place to come back and to kind of reflect and see where you can improve, and be able to make mistakes and think in weird patterns, and like, oh wait, that wasn't productive, let's go over this way. And I think it um that's all I wanted. Like, I don't know that, if my dad left Delphi tomorrow, I don't know, that would be hard. That would be hard to be like, "Oh, hey, you haven't thought about your grandkids in 14 years,"
Okay,
and,
but wait, I have a
you
question. I
know
know you feel that way right now, right? And in this moment, I also have another question. Are you ready?
Sure, yeah.
If he came out of Delphi, came up to your door or whatever, found like came to your place, saw him,
And
and
walk
he's
past the no trespassing private property signs?
yes,
No, I'm kidding.
and he was like, he'll kill me. He killed his dad, right?
No, yeah, no.
So, but he comes to you, right? And he just is like, I don't know what to say. I just, I'm out. I'm here. The first thing we're doing is deep hug, right? Are we not wrong? Like, out of all the times I can hate and want to kill my mom and dad and be like, are you crazy? I never want to kill her. I'm just saying, like, how many times do I want to slam the door in her face? Oh, that would be great.
Yeah, I don't know.
But if she came out and she was like, I'm out, I'm here, I'm not slamming the door on her face. That's for damn
Right.
sure.
No, I hear that. I mean, I would definitely have a conversation, but it wouldn't be like a kumbaya
Not
moment,
right
and,
away.
like,
No, no.
it would be
I'm just
something I don't
saying a
even know if I'd
physical
let my kids
hug.
around him for a while,
Sorry,
to
what?
be honest with you. I don't even think I'd let my kids around him for a while, to be honest with you.
See,
I know
this
too
is
much.
what
I
I
know
want
what
to.
is Scientology. I know
Mm-hmm.
what it is. It's
Yep.
all find a ruin, find this, like, triangulate. That's how they
Get
get
him
their
up the
leverage.
bridge.
And well, and even like pitting people against each other. It's like it's so passive aggressive when you look at the way even basic Scientologists communicate with each
Mm-hmm.
other. Like,
Mm-hmm.
mildly interested is even like marginalizing people. Like, I'm mildly interested in what you're talking about because it's like it's so
Totally.
convenient and controlling.
And
So,
then they also, while they're even whatever you're talking about, whatever art or whatever it is you're just naturally talking about, they do hold this. I have more knowledge than you. I have things I know. I'm on a bridge to total freedom that you are not aware of. So they just have this.
well,
I have the solutions to everything attitude. It's a built-in narcissistic attitude. Like, and then they have parents who are going to have children from this.
right. Yeah, I don't I mean, that could be a whole different I was married in the Sea Org when the second coming of the No Children in the Sea Org issue came out, and to me, it just didn't make sense. Like two Sea Org members that are going to give
Whoa, wait, wait,
human
wait,
lives.
wait. Wait, how many years were you in the Sea Org before you heard that rule that no more kids in the Sea Org? How many, like
Probably like two, I want to
two?
say.
And you were married, right? So you were thinking, wait, there could have been an option for us to have kids?
Looked like we just missed it, like damn. But I mean, you wear it to QI. It was terrible. Like we had to go do
That's so
missions into
fucked
the
up.
nursery.
So, but then
It
your
was
whole
so
time
awful.
you're like, we're not having kids now. So that
But you
literally
want
they're
to,
in your sex life, they're in your psyche, they're in your
what's your
like
2D? It's your
when you have
second
to
dynamic.
pull
That's
out
what
and
you
pull
want.
in.
Yeah, well, and even,
Did
yeah,
you
I
know
mean,
what a
God,
condom was? I had no idea what a condom was until I
not,
was like fucking,
uh,
I don't even know
no.
how old. I literally don't even know how old.
There were people that got like I remember even in the CMO there was the CO's, the commanding officer's communicator, and the treasury sec. She got pregnant, and she pretended like nothing was wrong for like 8 months until finally it was like obviously something was wrong. And then they got shipped off to like the East US up to the Continental Liaison Office up there.
Like to what? To
And
just be staff members, not Sea Org.
who knows? Like when we were there, I was in the personnel department as one of the division heads, and they were just gone. Like it was like you didn't talk about it when they were gone. Nobody spoke of them. You didn't
It's
know.
because you're
It was
not allowed to speak. It's anything that is sort of negative or like, oh no, what happened? If somebody feels that way, that's uh like I said at the very beginning of this video, uh to be vulnerable or to feel emotion or empathetic for something or some situation is actually a weak response in Scientology. It's up now, you're at effect. You're not at cause, you're not able, you're feeling a certain way now because you're starting to feel bad for other things other than you, yourself, and your mission on that you're on. Like, uh anyway, sorry. I
yeah.
was
It's
just full circle right
there's a
there.
lot of cognitive dissonance that takes place, and it becomes normalized. It's not really a leap to see why some of these people that had abusive backgrounds and grew up in abusive families ended up in control of an organization that is pretty much ripe with, toxicity and vitriol and it's not a good foundation for any human, and it's definitely not a good foundation for parents to raise children in. It's not for sure.
I would even say like so people would think like, well, there's certain parts of Scientology that are good. That drives me nuts because Scientology it's like I I never want to relate Scientology even to an insect or like to a cockroach with its little feather heads off their legs and stuff because even bugs are purer than Scientology. You know what I mean? Like everything of life is purer because they at least they're the cockroaches show us we're cockroaches. Scientologists and Scientology's whole machine and organizations pull in people like my mother, my father, who wanted to literally. So my mother came in because, in my quick eyes, it's literally like she was a ballet dancer. She was really educated. She had her life. Something happened in her dancing where she broke her foot. She wasn't able to be the lead dancer that she was for so long. During this time in the depression, she found this Toronto organization in Canada. Like, and then through that, she met my dad. And then boom, like, so it's not just like now my mom's at Gold Bay stuck there. Like, this was a
Right.
whole long program process. And how fucked up for her, for
We,
her whole life. Like,
we
lucky
they have
I sprouted out in this world, guys, to be able to be
right.
like, Mom, this is so insane, even for you. I hurt for her. I hurt for her, even for her thinking she did the best job. She thought she was doing the right thing. She thought I was in the best situation.
Yeah, I don't know. The way I grew up with Scientology, I learned how to do that, how to find those people's ruins and get them
Oh, same with
in
my
and being
dad.
right. It was, it was like all based on big league sales, basically. Like you find the
Ew,
ruined.
God.
Well, there was a process, and that as a 10, 11-year-old kid running around, um, recruiting people, selling Dianetics books, basics, like those kind of things. Um, it's once you get somebody saying yes and you find what their ruin is, it's hard to get them to say no, and people wanna, we want an answer to a lot of our pain and anguish. I don't want to feel anxious all the time.
Yeah.
It's one of those
You know what
definitely.
was so annoying is my dad was always known for finding the why, finding, and then he started using that, and he would be like, "Hey, Megs, I want to get, my friend's number," and I'd be like, "Why, Dad?" I was like, "No, you're just gonna call them about Scientology stuff," and it fucking annoyed the fuck out of me, but. The point is that he was just really good at it because he was coming at it in a real way. Like he, in his
Right,
mind, was coming at it like, nah, I know. I want to be like the cool dad that's helping all everybody. So it was
right.
kind of weird.
And
Um,
that's the whole point. That's what's pushed is you're supposed to disseminate Scientology.
disseminate.
Yeah,
Ugh. You know
right?
what my
Isn't that
dad did one? Oh wait, so really quick, I just wanted you to see this, Dylan, because I do just flash because we don't need an answer. I'm just showing for the videos. You can go
right?
back. But Becca said, "I'm so sorry you went through all that, but glad you're free at Blow Drill. Thank you for going there and sharing with us. We should talk." So I wanted you to know that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I have
Aw.
more to say about that. It's just really, I don't know. It's harder
Yeah,
to
no, keep
go
saying it.
into
I
something.
was just, oh, sorry. I'm going to take that off. Thank you, Becca. I just wanted you to see that so I wasn't skimming over it.
Definitely, definitely harder. One thing I will say is, having kids and being um a father and trying to be the father that like I never had and we never had that,
We're
the
like, as you're
father care.
assuming kind of how to be a good dad.
Well, I mean, it's not hard. That's I think if you um give it like if you just feel like what you would want, like that's all I look at is like I look at what I
Yeah.
wanted as a child is I didn't want to
Yeah.
be ignored. I just wanted to be loved and I wanted to be hugged and acknowledged and
Actually,
that was
Candy's
kind
Life
of all I
asked
wanted.
me, have you considered being a nanny? Because I can see you being a great with kids of all ages. Candy Life. One of my only first jobs when I finally got on any sort of solid ground was being a live-in nanny for David Carradine, who's Kill Bill in Kill Bill. He's Bill. Uh, I was their live-in nanny because his wife, Annie Carradine, was OT5. And how honored was she to have an ex Sea Org member? I mean, Dylan knows. Who was
I didn't
available at all of the hours, ready on a Sea Org schedule. So there you
Yeah,
go. I
no,
was very good with
I
kids.
I didn't realize that there was like an X, like once you leave, you could, hang out with other people or like off the radar. Yeah, I wish I would have known that.
No, 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 it wasn't allowed. They even make you sign paperwork that says you're not allowed to contact anybody you've ever met in the Sea Org while
Right.
you're not allowed to ask anybody. You are not allowed to get a job. You're not allowed to go to hang out and be fraternizing with anybody you've ever met while you were in the Sea Org,
No, absolutely. And you're
which
not
is
gonna
your whole
be
life.
and all your production, like everything you've ever
Oh,
done
yeah.
is like you
Yeah.
deny
And you're
it.
not, and they even told us you're not allowed to use the skills.
Right.
So for a long time, I was like, well, I really know how to clean toilets. And then I also really know how to put companies together, basically. So I was like, oh, well, I don't have a GED, so I can't go to any sort of good, skillful company. Like, and like, which I did later with Scientology companies are like, oh, yeah, she doesn't have a GED, but she was in the Sea Org for, you know, she was born and
Right.
raised.
And
And
it's
so they're
weird.
like, oh, she could be our ED's assistant right away.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Anybody that was in there, they know, like, that you actually can produce stuff, but the normal world is like you have no way of proving anything. So yeah, it's a lot
Ever.
harder.
Ann Walsh, my sincerest wish, Lara, is that one wonderful, amazing day you will reunite with your parents. Literally, I was just saying that today. Never give up hope. And Mary
But
and Rosemary gave me hope. Like Mike Brown and
that's
Rosemary
very
and
cool. I
all the
love that
people
story.
that helped them. And
That
I'm
they-
include. Yeah, I'm also just want to thank all the people that helped Mike Brown, including the people that are under the radar. I really do see that and appreciate that, and I just want you to know. I see. Okay, yeah.
Well, the
And
good
thank you,
comes
Ann
out
Walsh.
of good people, like they're the people that are willing to help people
Even when
is
they're
is
afraid, they
amazing.
just show up. You know,
Right.
showing up is the most important. You can tell somebody how much you love them, and that will be good at times, But showing up in the worst and the good and just in the but keeping your word and showing up.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the truth. That's the thickness.
I think I look at the reconnection differently, because I honestly I don't think my dad will ever get out. Um, if he was in the Sea Org,
Aw.
maybe, but being at Delphi, it's such a different kind of. He teaches, like Liz Gale has his art book. you know, like she learned from. Um, so it's a lot harder, like to where, and you don't. For a long time, you weren't supposed to talk bad about Delphi because it was a school, and I'm like, it's still Scientology, like, and like, what do
Yeah, a
you
lot of
mean?
people are like,
Delphi's a
well, didn't Will Smith and Jada? And I'm like, yeah, they put money into the belief system of the study technology of L. Ron Hubbard. And that means Delphi Academy. So they donated money into all that. That's just the truth of it. Whether they were hardcore or not, it doesn't matter. They also you know what, Dylan? I can't help though but think I'm sure Will Smith and Jada both had their own separate sessions. They both had auditing and they did try out auditing and they could see where it was going and they probably realized, oh, this is all being documented. No, I can't really feel safe here. Whereas Tom Cruise does, but he has no idea how unsafe he is by all the video footage and documentation there is of everything he's been giving off in his sessions.
right, and
And I
celebrities
think
are
that they
different.
caught it a bit and they're like, "Oh, we like the study side of it a little bit." That's what I think. And then
Right,
they
right.
got caught up into donating to applied scholastics, not
Yeah.
really getting
Gotta
into
have
the
those tax
depth of how
shelters.
fucking deep it is. What's that?
Right, right. Gotta have those tax shelters. Um,
And that's true. There
of
could be
course,
that
if you
too.
have that much money, you're allowed to give so much as gifts, so much as
Mhm.
religious donations, so much as what. And
Mhm.
maybe if you switch it, I don't know. I mean, they have lawyers that they pay, I'm sure, to help figure that stuff out.
You're right.
Um, that's
I
that's
also
all the
forget about all this. I'm just saying I there is a thing about they were for sure and I don't care what anybody says. They were for sure exemplified as Scientologists in the
Well, and they're
Scientology world.
opportunists. Like at this, like,
That's what I mean.
it's
And they're and
exactly
it
what
is
all the
very
friend
much
groups are
connected to
for.
Tom Cruise. They're
Good.
opportunists and they're very much connected to Tom Cruise. Will Smith is friends with Tom Cruise. They're all like mushy wooka cuckoo puffs. So you know what they say? Like, if you don't need to burn a bridge, don't do it. That's what they're doing. They're
Right.
just like not burning a
Right.
bridge.
Good roads, good weather.
Well,
Um,
okay, you fucking idiots. Whatever. Sorry.
when it's hard, like that's what they.
I'm a
That's
loving
it's
person.
weird.
I
It's like
didn't mean
having
to
a
say that.
snake always sitting there ready to strike. That's what wise. That's what A.
Right.
That's what rate of happiness. CCHR, Criminon. Like Narcanon. All that crap is just waiting. All that is those are ruins that they've pretty much highlighted that majority of people have. and they're just sitting there waiting to like strike for the next person. Luckily, the internet is here, and people can do some research, and it's getting harder to hide those kind of like NLP, MLM kind of
Mm-hmm.
scams. People are on kind of like, on alert for those things. So,
And it's also really nice to be like, even if everybody is explaining my story wrong, I have my stupid little great channel that I can always say, "Excuse me, I'm sorry," very openly. I apologize. I fucked up on this. I also learned from this, and now I understand why I was saying this. And also, guess what? I was right about this, and it goes even worse. We
right.
can. We're not afraid to change. We're not afraid to grow. We're not afraid to like learn and be wrong and then right again, and it's okay. Like that's to me the ultimate unlimited freedom.
Right. I think one of the biggest things with this survival journey and healing, um, you can do so much by yourself, and you can dissect so much and go back and, look at it in now. But to communicate with people that have gone through it and to get that reciprocity, where people actually kind of understand it and are able to kind of reciprocate what you need, and just saying it, um
Mm,
is healing. It's a way
literally.
to um get through some stuff that there's no way. It's overwhelming, it's something that or for me, I don't know. Sometimes it's so hard to get, you know, through
Like
everything. How
I
I remember 2 years ago starting this single father journey, and I was like, "Wow, like, this is crazy hard." Um, and it's 2 years later, and it's still really hard. I'm still really tired and really sore, and, but yeah, you do it because it matters. Like, that's where, and you look at our parents, and it's like, when I really hope, and not in a bad, demented way, but I really hope they sit up some nights and are just like, "I fucked up. Like, I really screwed up. I need to call Lara, and I need to," like, it's but I don't know. I don't know that they do that. I
I think it's
I'd like
coming.
to think they do.
I mean,
I'd
like
like
never, Dylan. Honestly, I'm gonna be straight up. Never, never did I ever think I would be talking to somebody who once was an abuser enforcer, validating and apologizing and saying, "Look, it's only for my own good that I'm apologizing to you, so that I can feel
Right,
better." That made me feel good after I had already watched and seen them and already made up in my mind. Oh, this is what Claire Headley was trying to get me to see, but he also wasn't speaking out at the time. So I had no
right.
idea what was going on. So, anyways, it was just really good in his own exemplifying way. I'm talking about Mike Brown and then his
I
mother,
kinda figured.
Rosemary, and everything. And it's just like,
Right,
but what I'm saying is like full circle. Like everything is completely, everything that we traumatically went through has so much validity to it. And it's completely disgusting and it's completely turbulating and it's completely horrible. Like it's not okay. And we were told the whole time it's not that bad. Stop acting like it was that bad. Come on, you're dramatizing. You're over all of this always, even as we're getting out of it, you know?
well,
We're still hearing
they
it as we're getting out of
minimalize
it
life
from our
so much.
friends. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, right. They make less of life. Like, you can always pick up another body. You can always, like, it's many life. You
Ugh.
sign a contract for 1 billion years. It's not like, it's so they minimalize human existence. And, what if we don't have other lifetimes? What if this is our experience? Or what if, like, we don't get to contemplate that stuff? And, um, it's or determined. Um, and it's when you leave, it's harder to start looking and like, do I believe in past lives? I don't know. Like, is it, have I
Yes.
lived many lifetimes? Was this just an effort in like mental, screwery of like, get him to focus on all this crap and make up all this stuff on your timeline and make your file clerk go there? And somebody was talking about what those are psychologically though,
Yeah.
and they're really destructive. It's really
That's what I
um
was kind of trying to get. You just nailed it. That's what I was trying to get to. So imagine, I'm like, this is happening to us as children. Not only is it happening, our mothers and fathers were already acting and doing all these things while
right.
we were in their
And don't even
bellies,
calling
in
you
their
an adult in a little
and saying
body. Like, it's
shh,
like,
yeah, and saying like, oh, contact, shh, quiet, and in birth, trying to be as quiet
right.
as
Oh my
and
God.
like quiet, like what the fuck?
And then everybody starting to do a contact assist and
I'm
like
feeling
moving
restimulated,
your
Dylan.
body
Shh.
while you're
Dylan,
saying, you're like,
Dylan,
ow,
Dylan,
ow, 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 ow.
Dylan. I need a contact that says shh, quiet. I need a locational.
Right, right.
Anyways,
It's like
but
he needs
no,
a touch assist. Like, no, he needs a doctor. He doesn't need a touch assist. He needs a doctor.
feel my finger.
Right.
Oh, you
Yeah,
know
I
what?
don't
Oh my God.
like
Oh,
it.
so just
The
so y'all
placebo effect, like,
listening, was that? Oh, the placebo
no, I
effect.
just
Yeah.
said that there's a lot to the placebo effect and mind over matter, and that's a big part of the faith, I think.
But what I was gonna say is I forgot what I was gonna say. Congratulations, congratulations, everybody.
Thank you,
Cheers.
man. Thank
Thank
you,
you
thank
very
you.
much.
I'll drink my water.
So I have a question for as a father. Can I ask you like three? I have three written down that I meant to ask as father
Okay.
questions, and I
Yes.
don't want to get it. I think I'm strong enough now. Right now, I'm feeling in a strong
This will get too
situation.
long and we're gonna lose people. So
Who gives a shit? No, we have more people right now. This is
oh,
great.
okay.
Yeah,
I
we're
have no
doing
clue.
great.
I don't see anything. I only
Oh,
see you.
no, we have more. I was like, oh, maybe we should just keep on going then. Because, like, I keep looking up and there's more people and there's more people. So, what I was going to say is, and also thank you, Apostate Alex. I just want to validate and love my chat peoples. Oops, sorry. Ann Walsh, Dylan, you are a gift to your boys. Do you know who Ann Walsh is?
I do not.
Okay, I don't
Is she
either.
married to I know a Walsh, but I
Wall
don't
Street.
know the guy. No.
Also, oh, I should put that. Serge Del Mar is definitely in the chat, and he's like, motherfucker, he's like, rawr, and he's like, proud to be, Becca was like, at Serge Mel, proud to be a public enemy. Yes. By the way, guys, we're doing a protest, just so you know, at Celebrity Center on October, I hope I get this right. October 21st from 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. Come make your signs, come fucking come make a little fuss, you know? Come let out what you've been holding up inside. We can't have this shit anymore. It's really not cool. It needs to go away. We need to grow. We need to continue. We need to let people live their lives, right, Dylan? Don't you think that's a real thing?
Yes. I don't know. It's even the protests were always hard for me because the rank and file are mostly just cannon fodder. Um they're not making the decisions. They're just following what they're told for the most part. So
For
when
sure. If
you
you're talking
when you
about it
talk to them,
physically being there, right?
well, and when you talk to them about, stuff like where's Shelley and stuff, like it's like, they don't even know who Shelley is half the time. Where
But that's the whole point, Dylan. And it's also the point of people driving by
they don't even
seeing
know
this
who
and they're
she is.
filming stuff. Like
Right.
it does people go, what is the whole Shelly thing? And you're like, you don't know yet. We know. But
What
they're
what
like,
if you
and
ask
they look it
those
up. They're
people
like, but
like,
really, where is Shelly? It is a good question. Where is
what if
Shelly?
we ask them like, when's the last time you talked to your mom? Or
That
do
would
you
be
have
a
any
great thing. They
siblings
do
that
though,
aren't
and it
siblings?
does bring those
Right,
questions. It does. They go, what
right.
about you? That's what's so cool. So, and yeah, trust me, I
No,
do.
I'm not saying you're not. I guess I've done protests. I don't know. But
No, no, no. I'm
um,
saying, okay, well, you know what? You know what? I should pull up a picture. Just kidding. It felt
I watched
really
a little
good,
from it.
Dylan.
It was great. No, it was awesome. I think you
I
definitely nailed
cried.
it.
I was so angry at some points, and I looked like I was just joyful. But I was like having like literally totally just drank water and probably should have probably should have eaten more food. I was just like, oh,
Yeah,
here we
just
go.
get to breathe and drink lots of water.
I was drinking a lot of
Letting that
water.
emotion out is so awesome. Like that's so powerful to
And I also
be
felt like,
able to
fuck
just,
you. I'm allowed to cry and scream and say,
right.
fuck you loud for 3 hours forever. That's what I felt.
I think,
I don't need to do it
and-
again. I don't think I might be loud because I'm natural, but yeah, that's how I felt.
right. I think a lot of us treat that inner child, or I know I do. I'm not very nice to my inner child.
Yeah.
And I try to be nicer, but, that's hard. It's hard with the way we were raised. We were never allowed to be children. So it's harder to be, nicer to that child that was never allowed to be a child. And you had to have your exchange in, you had to produce all the time. It wasn't like with my kids, I'm like, right now your job's to be in school. If you do great in school, I'll reward you. Your job
Oh,
isn't to be my little slave. Like your job is to, like if you want extra stuff, yeah, help me with the dog food and take out the trash. And otherwise, I kind of, I don't take on anything that I can't do myself. And I think by being that person and instead of shaming or guilting them into doing stuff, like, that's how you kind of show and get initiative
yeah.
is you do
And
what,
love. It's like love,
um,
though. Because
well,
love
and
is like
that's
nurturing and showing why you should live life in this way to make yourself feel strong and like good for whatever you want to do for your future.
right. My youngest is very emotional and he
Oh,
cries at school
I
since like
would be,
fifth
I'm
grade.
like
And,
that.
he gets overwhelmed and he doesn't know how. So recently,
Oh,
um, he's 12 now, and he he's in seventh grade. So I was talking to him the other day. I was like, in society, when you do something and people react adversely or in a way like you're kind of being vulnerable and you're exposing their fears and some of their shame, and it makes people feel awkward. So they react to emotion differently. So if you get overwhelmed for a math problem or like algebra, and you're learning something new, you have to give yourself grace because you've never learned it before. So you have to realize it's something new and it's going to take a while to understand and get the concept and get comfortable with it. Like, an athlete has to do the same thing over and over 1,000 times before you
right.
develop muscle memory.
Ugh,
So it's the same with your brain. Like if you learn something, you have to give yourself a little grace and learn that over time you can be competent at it if it's something you enjoy. But when you show these emotions in a social atmosphere, and people act, like react in a way, as we grow, we have to learn that if you have a safe place to get through those emotions, that's when you realize it's like it's kind of part of us. It's the idea of like if we're all in our little corners and we expect everybody to come to our corners, or we'll only talk to people from our little space, it's going to be a crazy, chaotic environment. We all have to leave our place and come to a center, which means we're all giving and sacrificing a little bit.
yeah.
So when we're in these social um, situations and you see people act adversely to your overwhelm or anything like that, and nobody's willing to hold space, as we grow older, we have to learn that if we have a safe place, maybe that's the place to deal with those emotions. And right now, not show those. So, and that's a hard thing for me to talk about with them because I'm all for like show that emotion, like get over it, get done with it, and move on. But it's definitely a lot harder when the society isn't receptive to those feelings. And then you get made to feel more uncomfortable for expressing yourself, you know? So it's it's hard. It's it's
It's
hard to raise kids.
It's literally also like I'm like it's literally the like double edged needle or the double edged sword. Like, and here we are balancing on it. I'm like, if we go,
Right.
that's what we're doing. People every day, like the people I work with, the house manager, that she's like, "Hi, good morning, how are you?" And I'm like, "Alive." I'm not
Right.
there to be like jokey or fun. I'm here. I will do my job no matter the fuck what. But if you want to really get into it, it's gonna be a minute. Don't. So the answer is I'm
Well, that's
alive.
also us putting our trauma on other people that obviously
No,
aren't
no, no.
there
And
for
I'm not. No. And
you
she would
know.
find it fascinating. But I'm like, I don't have the energy to tell you what I just went through. So
I think
I
so.
was like,
Yeah,
let me process and let me do the work I need to do. And if in there there's a pocket, I can explain a few little tidbits. I'll let you know.
right.
Yeah.
Right. No, it's I think it's that if you do have a safe place to decompress, it's letting people's actions show you who they are. And if people are safe in those environments, like at school, if he trusts the counselor, I was like, talk to her or honestly, instead of crying,
Yeah.
say like, I'm feeling overwhelmed right now
And
and I don't
yeah.
understand this and I just need a second. And then
Yeah.
that way, if you're not crying, you're still expressing yourself. But if crying creates this adverse effect or this weird reaction, maybe express it that way and then come, home to a safe environment where you can then say, "Oh my God," blah, and cry and
Yeah.
let it out. And that's kind of um I don't know. I
It's
hope it's
totally
right.
no,
It
that's
feels right.
no,
So I
it's
don't
totally right. Cause you know why? Especially if some kid went to like the principal or somebody or like to some with an emotional thing. Oh, that principal will be listening no matter what goddamn very insane thing is going on in that principal's life. Like if they see an
right,
emotional kid come to them with like, "Can I talk to you?" I'm like, and they're there. So
right,
that's so true. Like it's not just with parenting, you're not alone. Like it is like you can even tell your kid like, "Hey, you're allowed to privately go talk to the principal or somebody. There's people in your school that will emotionally help you get through this."
right. And we also learn as
Which we
children,
never had.
that's how we get attention a lot, like when you're an infant, if you cry, your parent comes and
Right.
gives you
And
care.
rescues you.
So
Yeah.
we learn those that when we are overwhelmed, that that's an instinctual or a habitual pattern that we've developed. And until we reach a certain milestone, it's a normal behavior. And then once we reach these milestones and we want to assimilate into society, we have to understand that there's rules in society. And if we play by those rules, then we can navigate through society for the most part. Um,
Yeah.
but otherwise, yeah,
If we under
it's
if we can
it's hard because
mentally,
you're not, there's a lot
if
of
you get
hurt
the right
people.
job and you land with the right people and all of that. It's so
Well,
fucked
that
up. It took
becomes,
us
yeah,
so
it becomes.
long.
I
What's
still
that?
don't know what I'm gonna do with my life.
Me too. If I didn't have the job I have and stuff, I would just be like, I guess, I'd figure it out. But like, fuck, I don't want to deal with that. And I really do appreciate all the shit and the people and everybody we've learned and been through. Like, ugh. Right, bubbies?
Yeah, it's a trip looking back at, those parts of your life where it seems so normal and it seems so, you know, we were doing such an amazing thing. All the sacrifice made sense. So,
And also, we
and
thought
that's what
we
my dad's doing.
everything we
That's
were
what your
doing was
family's
so
doing right now.
right.
It's crazy. I have a cousin that went to Washburn Academy in Florida and he moved to Los Angeles like 3 or 4 years ago and his Facebook hasn't been touched. Like he was full on indoctrinated, third gen. Um, So I don't know. I think he's probably in the Sea Org or working at CC or something
Can I
because he
ask
was
you,
in
like,
the
I was gonna say, can I ask you a private question?
church.
Can I
What?
ask you? Can I ask you a private question, Dylan?
Yeah, go
Did you
ahead.
ever did you ever know Quillen Bailey or Quillen Bailey?
No,
Okay.
doesn't ring any bells. I was kind of isolated. Like
He's
I was at
Juliet.
Florida
No, he's
and I was
Juliet
at just
Lewis's. Like he's connected. He's Juliet Lewis's like younger, one of their young or whatever brothers. Like he's connected to the Juliet Lewis family. Anyways,
I did one mission into CC and it was to put establish a auditor on post, and that was about all my interaction with CC.
who is the auditor? Are you allowed to say?
Well, it was I took, let's see, it was Mike. I think it was that wasn't Mike Gilchrist. Um, it was no, maybe it was Mike Gilchrist. It was with Andreas Galbriati and Mike Gilchrist. I forget exactly how.
Is that Galbiotti? Is that what's her name from Florida's sister or brother?
Ricky Ricky Galbriati. No,
No,
they
the
were married.
chick, the young chick that
Yeah,
like
Ricky,
literally
the
no.
blonde girl. Uh,
Who's Galbiotti? She was like a hot little young otter that literally got paid the most from all these fucking
maybe she was married. Or sister
like
to
related. Yeah,
Andrea.
Bubs, if you
Yeah,
move, then I'm not petting you. Look at Bubs' butthole. She's
that's just
doing it
gross.
like look at what she's doing. She's just doing like a slow. It's so funny. So weird. I love my animals. Okay. Yeah, Galbiotti. What's her name? Serge. Serge. He'll tell me in 2 seconds. Serge. Somebody let me know in the chat, Serge.
Oh,
Who's the
Rick.
Galbiotti? Something Galbiotti. Anyways.
Well, yeah, maybe we should plan a topic and stay on topic next time.
No, Dylan, never.
Kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, this is so good. We went through so much and we'll always do this again. Also, my cats love it. She's like, yes. Look what she do. Your cats do this? Look what she does.
My cats are mostly outside cats,
Look.
and they definitely don't do that. My cats kill
She's
things, and
she's not she does this bubble. It's like she's chewing bubble gum.
I
Look,
have
she
five
likes it.
cats that live outside, and
She
I
look.
feed them.
She's like, oh yeah, bubble gum, bubble
And they like being outside. It's really interesting. They're sort of
gum.
feral,
No, she would
but they
love to
hang
be
in.
outside. She would love. Bubbies would love to be outside, but I only have a cute little apartment.
Yes, I definitely have a little shack. Yeah,
A little shack, Dylan. Oh my
I
god, you're
do.
so funny. You have like land and property. These
Yeah, an
cats don't
acre.
even understand what Earth is.
Right
They
now, living in the land of law, it's really hard for sure.
do you come from a land down under? Anyway, so Dylan, for realsies on the, I think we can go to a few little questions, but I do want to say like this was such an important chat, and you made me cry multiple times. Not you, but like your nice energy allowed me to be vulnerable, which is so nice. I really love being able to be vulnerable, especially with people who went through similar, not similar, just like being in the Scientology compound of the Sea Organ under staff crap and all of that. And like, still being able to like and then have kids like it's so cool and like have your property and you've learned like so much. I know like obviously the people watching don't know how much one of my best friends made me realize like we had met before. Our mutual friend Sina made me
Hmm.
realize who you were. She literally was like, no, Dylan, like she was like, Dylan Gill is the one in the chat when we were on what do you call that, what was the clubhouse
So
when we
Clubhouse,
were, yeah, when we were clubhouse. I was like, oh, Dylan. Anyway, so anyways, I love Sinus so much, and you know that.
yeah,
Um,
Simon's amazing.
And yeah, and so it was just so sweet that literally it's so nice to find somebody like a father that literally now has two boys that are gonna maybe possibly be fathers of themselves someday. Like
Yeah, it's a
that's
trip. I
insane
still
that they
don't
it's insane
look
that
at
they
myself.
have a father like you, Dylan. Can I just say that I interrupted you, but
Well,
it's so pleasurable to
of
know
course,
that at least there's a guy named Dylan who has two boys that will or will not have children, but they have a father like Dylan. That's really cool.
I kind of have a hard time with like that. I'm kind of all I have to offer.
I know that's
Like the whole
true.
family. It's so um,
Like you can't
it's
just be
hard.
like, you know what, I'm feeling suicidal. I gotta go.
Oh yeah,
Not
no
to be
option.
rude and weird. I'm just saying like that's like I'm saying you don't just have options to do things like you've created these things that also look like you. I think there's like a gross natural human nature where they make it look like you. So you're like, oh, you trying to kill yourself? Like they're like, oh
Right.
no. Like, right? Do you not see yourself in your children or no? Am I weird with
Oh,
that?
for sure. No, my
Because I see
son.
my hands and I see my mom's hands and my dad in me like all
Right.
the time.
No, absolutely. No, they're the age where like my oldest is I would have been in the Sea Org almost a year. Like it's weird to see him be a freshman in high school and it's like
That is creepy. I mean,
it's a
sorry, no, like
tiny
that's
change.
like, whoa, that's
No, it
like,
is. It's a hard lesson to sit there and keep looking at in a way of like honestly, I'll be honest with
and for how many years we were forced to kind of just justify it naturally
well, and
and
being
make
in
it okay.
Scientology, you're taught to be so self-centered and
And
like
sort of NARS, yeah,
egocentric
totally.
that
And
it's hard at first when I had kids to give them what I wanted, knowing that I'll never have it.
did you
Like
plan to have kids?
yeah, no, it wasn't just an accident. It was
You were excited to, like, you were like, of course, if it
I
happens,
didn't want
this
to at
will be
first.
so fun.
I thought
Oh,
the way
okay.
our world is like I didn't want him to kind of come to me and when I was old and kick my cane out from under me and be like, "Why did you have me? This world
Right.
sucks. It's your fault." I was like, "Sorry, I thought it was a good idea. My bad."
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I'm trying to be a good dad so that they don't get mad at me when they see how crappy the world is and how I could have saved them from it. But it's hard to give somebody something that you never had. Like that part tugged at me for a while.
But
And that
do you see maybe in your actions through them, you see that they are getting something that you never got?
no, I know it's hard, and it's hard to. It's like the hard part for me is that it's so natural and easy that why didn't my father do that for me? Why didn't my
Oh,
mother?
I hate that. I hate that you
Like
said that because that just hit me right there like, Dad, and maybe he's still trying to do that right now. So that's what jerks me even more
he
at
does
my
it to
like,
everybody that's at Delphi. He's teaching freaking like
oh,
he's indoctrinating little kids to go be Sea Org members. Pretty
but
shitty.
what Delphi is this? Not to be weird.
In Oregon,
So
he's been there for like
I have a
38
side
years.
question from that. You know,
But
like since we've been talking about all of our crazy fathers and lifehoods and childhoods and spankings and all this shit, like Casavius Tabioyan, I feel has his own family as well now. And I feel like now that I've seen men that we've grown up with that were older and younger and all that having children, and they're starting to have new frames of mind, kind of to speak like, I'm starting to see them in a mature way and they're starting to learn like holy shit, I've never realized that I was actually the abuser that did that.
right.
I at the beginning hated Mike Brown, hated Casavius Tabio, and hated in some ways hated Barbara Tompkins, hated even Sterling for like there's so many things like
Yeah,
I'm
he's
not like
terrible.
Dylan. I
You
what
can't hate Sterling.
Dylan?
You can't.
It
He's,
happened.
he's a good guy. You
So
can't.
I know. No, no, no. And so, like, no, but as we are all growing at the same time, we're also us being so mad and being so and vulnerable and saying how we felt and having these arguments are the things that are actually healing for us as a whole individual and as a whole squad. Like it's pretty insane. The more that we see other people reconcile and they make amends and they really understand what they did was not okay and they're not that person at all, but under these bound rules by L. Ron Hubbard's policies and these like group agreements, as we would say,
Right.
we all agreed that this was the way to do it. And then as other people, like Mike Brown, apologized so sweetly to me. So, and then I went and had a really long conversation with him, but like, um, before I went to this festival, I went to the Power Trip Festival, which had the best, amazing Metallica bands where I could fucking just like scream out and just wow, AC/DC, Metallica, Tool, Iron Maiden, and many more. Judas Priest. Woo. Anyways, so so much there's a lot of therapy in many ways, and one of them is also through the SBTV community, seeing other people also reconcile and heal and being open, like, hey, I have some things I need to address. I want to say sorry for this. I'm going to call that I did whatever I could to make myself feel better for it. So Mike even said it in a way where it made me feel like I understood what he was trying to say. He was saying like, I know I'm only doing this so I feel good about, like, I don't want you to like think for the rest of your life that I'm a bad person, you know? So he is kind of doing it for himself. But I felt that the fact that he said that, I also felt, okay, good. Well, then that also allows me to feel like he also is very sorry. He did never meant to do any of that.
Right.
And he
Well, I think
has
the
two
people that
children.
are
He has
willing to
two
have that
girls of his
conversation.
own. Oh, sorry,
Right.
what?
Yeah. No, I think the people that are willing to have that conversation are the people that have done work and are trying to, have reconciled and take responsibility. Um, it's the people that avoid it and, kind of do the same. It's easy to stay in those habitual patterns that we learn. And it's a
Oh
lot
my God.
harder
You know
to
what I
break
used to
those
do as a
chains.
kid? This is so fucked up. So when they would trap me in like the lounge cleaning closet, like they would just lock the fucking door and shove me in with all the mops and all the cleaning closet because L. Ron Hubbard wrote a policy letter. Ugh, I get emotional every time.
Right.
L. Ron Hubbard wrote a policy letter that says if they're not listening, won't behave, if they're going crazy, uh, put them in, lock them up in a closet and lock the door. Literally, it says lock them in a closet and shut the door and don't let them out until they shut up. Basically, that was that was a moment for me as a child where for some reason I felt like an older me going, I know you feel like dying right now, but this is not life. I was like,
Right.
I want to die, but I don't want my life to end. I was like, I just don't want this to
Right.
be happening. Isn't that crazy? That's so crazy to feel how I always remember now today. That's so crazy.
It's feeling trapped is I don't know. It's something that seemed like it was a regular occurrence in the Sea Org. It wasn't.
Yes.
It was like in so many different ways and so many different and that even knowing Thursday at 2, your stats were down, you're gonna be in liability and like it's all those like moments of yeah, it's I don't know how we all heal from this, to be honest with you. I think maybe
Only
this is
mutual.
part of it.
Yeah. I
Maybe
think mutual because you're teaching me a lot about like feelings of like your kids and stuff. And like, it's not just you. It's like, I have so many,
it's
of my
hard when you have
friends
to
who
think
have.
about somebody else. Like it's when it's just you, it's easy to, go I could just go crazy if I needed to or go run around or go blow to the next town and, start over and find a little homeless population or foreigners or youth hostel or something. Where when you have kids, there's no leaving. You have to continue and um
It's like part of your
make
heart
it
is
work.
just walking around.
You can't like get really deep um because it's not something you would want to put on your kids, you know. I
Yeah.
don't dramatize my trauma in front of them for any reason. I mean, unless it's appropriate, you know, like my recently my grandfather just passed away and like about a month or two ago, and
Wow.
they had I guess they had services, I don't know. But I called up my cousin, the only person that'll talk to me in the entire family, and
Wait, is your grandfather? Is your grand? Was he a Scientologist? Is he a Scientologist?
he read Dianetics and took some courses, and but he was more of an artist and was
But
like,
so
that's
you
not for
weren't
me.
not invited to the thing because of a Scientology thing
Well, yeah, because my dad and my uncle, um, they wouldn't go if I was told. So
that you were. Oh
nobody
my
in my family
god.
goes.
Oh, I
So
get it.
no, so the
Okay.
rest of my family doesn't say anything because that they wouldn't go
Right.
and all that.
Right. Right.
So
Okay.
yeah, it's kind of a, it's a messed up thing. And he was the guy that would kind of call me once a year and try to find out as much information and then tell my dad and my uncle. And like it's just so screwed. It never,
It never
it's
ends, like on
it
all
does it
levels.
never
It's they're
ends.
gonna. It's just like if it's almost like literally if you're an octopus, right? A creative little octopus with all these legs, and you find yourself stuck in an iron cage. That if you touch any of the cage, you're literally one of your little tentacles are gonna sizzle. So you have to stay locked in this mind frame and process. Otherwise, you're
Well,
no longer an octopus anymore because you have no tentacles. You're just sizzled.
I think it's a lot harder to change your neural pathways than it is to just kind of rebrand them. So if you grow up in this kind of trauma, it's easy for a lot of people um to kind of just use what works and call it something different. And it's harder to heal that way thoroughly, at least for me. So that's why, you got to do it right and just completely trash yourself and start completely over. And that way, you're really sure to get all that crap out.
Yep. It was just two, 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 two. So I went. I,
Well, well,
wow.
there you go. It's a perfect way. We started at 22222. We ended 2222.
Wow. Literally, Dylan. It's just so insane. Up and down, all around.
I agree.
I kept popping up things so that we didn't have to do a whole like long chat
All
thing
right. Yeah, I
at
don't
the
know the
end.
whole format thing.
Oh,
Like I
thank
said.
you, Becca Bajunski. She was like literally getting Kill Bill vibes. My heart is with all of the children of Church of Scientology. Unbelievable what is normal in the cult. Yeah, for sure, right? That's the thing. Like, what is normal in the cult is insane.
Right. Yeah. What gets normalized is insane.
Every day, what they normalize. All right, my little sweet friends. We love you so much, you guys. Dylan, is there anything else you want to say before we go?
No, thanks for inviting me. I'm glad we were able to chat for sure.
And I would love to do this again, fatherhood talk. I would love to do more fatherhood talk because I love talking to you
Yeah,
because you are a father,
let's
and maybe we can have
find some
other
topics.
male fathers on. You know, that would be fun.
Yeah, other male
That were
fathers.
in that are part of Sea Oregon. Like how are you guys surviving as males out in there in the ex Scientology psycho world and having these beautiful children?
It's hard being a guy and starting over multiple times in your life with no support structure. Like right now I don't have any friends or people to talk to or
Except for
anything like that.
me
So,
and
well, no,
Sina.
I mean like yeah, no, well, and yeah, I have a few people, but nobody like
Hi, Rev
face to
girl.
face, nobody local. Like it's hard to, and I'm not really good at reaching out. So. I don't really do a lot
That's why
of
I'm always like, Dylan, Lara told me to call you. No, but
target. Well,
also
thank
you're
you.
really busy. Like sometimes you are just like taking care of your little chicklings. It's like you're kind of like it's a nature thing. You're just like in a
Yeah,
thing,
it never ends.
school.
It's nuts.
Yeah. I just and I don't have kids yet. And that's kind of a bit of my fears. If I were to get pregnant, then there's no way I would be getting pregnant right now. But anyways, but if I were to have a child, what I'm saying is that it kind of would take over my life, and
It
that's
it should.
crazy.
That's the kind of the point is it should
Should
be a
it?
priority.
Okay.
Like we learned, well, because it's a priority. Like there's a little,
That I mean it would. It would depress me I think a little because I no longer am a free butterfly, but I would be very excited to have this creature, I think.
yeah, it's amazing. I think that it is very healing. But even now, like, and we maybe this would be something to talk about with some people is like, as I can see them getting older, I want them to be like 10 times the person I ever could be.
Right.
I want them to succeed. I want them to be so much better than me and do everything and accomplish and have passion and nurture that passion and do that as a job if they can and or make enough money to where they can do their passion on the weekends or whatever so that they can fulfill what they want, and
Yeah.
like having like knowing that it's like okay, I that's not going to happen for me per se. Um it's okay knowing that I'm trying to create people that are going to go into the world and be better people and respect people for who they are and the content of the character, not the color of their skin or what they choose to call themselves, but how they act and how they interact. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it's a lot of work, and that it's important. It is.
It is. It is and like
Well, thanks,
even
Laura. I appreciate it.
yeah,
I
and
do.
I know I really you always are like, "No, thank you." And I'm like, "No, Dylan, thank like you just I feel like I finally was like, "Woo, I spoke to a real human about like something that I don't have like a full topic on being a father. I just know what I know what I sort of missed based off of all the caregiving and nannying
We
and
missed a lot. We missed a
yeah,
shit. It's amazing to watch children grow and actually pay attention to their developmental stages, and yeah, we missed
it's
a
just
ton. It's hard. It's
crazy.
even more traumatizing seeing what could have been or what can be, that's
This is
it's
just
hard to
it's hard
swallow.
with me. I struggle with this so much. I'm just like, are you absolutely kidding me? So like every time I speak to anybody who I've now been finding out who has known me when I was like, "Oh, you were the baby in the crib." When,
Right.
they were like, "You were so amazing. You were and I'm like, I never saw myself like that as a kid. I
Mhm.
can't
Right.
believe that. I was always in trouble. I was always
And
trying
it's
to
hard to be hard
dim.
to
I was always trying to be quiet. I was always trying to be in line, even though I
right.
was very active. So
And it's hard to
fucked.
look at yourself in that light even now
Yeah,
because it's like
I'm
there's
like
still so
I'm
much
like don't
trauma
relate
around
me to that. That was so
right,
structured and so that was my prison. I'm now free. So
right.
crazy.
Absolutely.
Ugh. All right, my sweet angel, little Dylan friend. Dang, you just little. And thank you, Willie Weed and all, Becca and Rev Girl
Yeah,
and
thanks
all you
everybody in the
cuties in
chat.
the chat. L Jane. Oh, I love how they're like sponsoring. Like, yeah, thanks for the puffity puff party. I've been puffing and puffing and poofity poof all day long because I was just so excited to even be able to have this kind of exactly masculine loving energy from the father aspect of life and like just being a cadet, somebody that understands cadets, not having their parents, not just and knowing the whole structure and being at CST and everything. It's just it's a lot. It's insane. It's all a lot. And it's
It
insane
is,
and
yeah,
it's a
we'll have
lot to
to
process. And it's good
let's
for
attack it
people to
from
be able
another
to love.
angle
Yeah.
and dissect and digest and for sure.
Like
Well, thank you.
literally tomorrow I'll be watching this being like, Dylan said so much that was like made me. So it's so nice to go back and watch. So if you're watching, make sure you go ahead and click that cute little like button and keep watching us. We'll be back and we'll talk more about fatherhood talk and our whole structure of little human being lives on this planet. Right,
Yes,
Dylan?
absolutely.
Thank you guys so much that have been in chat the whole night and asking beautiful, sweet questions. And Osa, if you're there, come on out. We'll give you also a place that you can uh, get on your feet out here and enjoy your life before it ends. Right, Dylan?
Absolutely. If anybody, um, I have a trailer. You guys can stay in it.
And it will
So,
be amazing. I probably go stay in. Sorry, I was gonna say I would go stay in it just to get away from the world, and I was like, boom, cut out. But yeah, I would go stay in Dylan's trailer, and also, but
it's not bad.
the skies and the whole it's like a whole destim, as they would say.
Yeah, it is. It's a little bit. It helps
All
for
right,
sure.
thank you all. Thank you, Dylan, so much. We're gonna be back again. We'll come
But
back and talk about this sensitive subject again.
yes,
Fathers,
yeah.
fatherhood talk with Lara FM TV and Dylan Gill.
All
Bye,
right.
guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Somebody is searching for the right child. Somebody is telling you what's right. Now you're going to have to decide what you're gonna do the next step you take.